Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Stay a while. You're watching episode 34 of the best sports show out, Highly Opinionated. I'm your co-host, Josh. Ladies and gentlemen, the best co-host in the game, the host of the Club JG podcast, ladies and gentlemen, the guy himself, JG. What's up, my brother?
What up with it, guys? How we doing?
We good, bro. How you?
Life is good, man. I can't complain.
Yeah, life got to be good. You know, man, I know with a fresh Lakers Luka Doncic jersey.
Yeah, man. You know how it is. You know how we do with my West Coast teams, man. I've been for those who may not know, I've been a Laker fan long before LeBron James came in. Long before we talking about 97, 98, Kobe Bryant's second year in the league. Yeah, I've been a Laker for a long time. This is the first jersey I got since Kobe retired. Luka Doncic is a special player, and I think he's going to bring us some special moments. So definitely had to rep my guy.
Nothing wrong with that at all. You get a top 5 generational player in the trade. The Lakers are known for that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, Luka Doncic. So the Lakers definitely have their sights set high for not only Luka, but for their playoffs. We'll definitely see how that go. Ladies and gentlemen, the best producer, the best editor, the best guy here on Highly Opinionated. What's going on, Ross?
What's good, Josh? How you feeling?
I'm good, brother. How you, man?
I'm good. I can't complain. About to get into some NBA playoffs. We got the draft coming up soon. We got college football news. So we basically back in the swing of things.
Absolutely. It's always well, most people don't realize with the dead time of sports, usually it's a lot of stuff that happens. And this is one of the kind of quasi dead moments, but you still have the NFL, you still got college football, college basketball, transfer portal, the NBA playoffs starting. So definitely a good time. Definitely a good time for a dead time if you're a sports fan. Just constant news, and that's what you want. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for watching last week's episode 33. I want to appreciate you and thank you for watching episode 34 of Highly Opinionated. Again, we aim every week to be the best we can be, to get better and better. We love the engagement. We love the comments. We love the messages. We appreciate you guys for being fans and supporters of the show. And hopefully we give you guys a good product. Again, we're aiming to be the best we can be, whether it's here on Highly Opinionated or the Club JG podcast. We want to be the best material or best. What is the word I'm looking for? The best. We want to be the best that you guys consume. You can watch First Take. You can watch FS1. You can watch whatever you want. But this show here, Club JG, is real. It's authentic. And we're giving y'all our real authentic takes on how we feel about sports. Speaking of that, where you can follow us at on our social medias, Ross, let them know where they can do that at.
Yes, sir. Y'all can follow us on Instagram at Highly Opinionated __. Follow us on TikTok at Highly Opinionated _SS. And follow us on X or Twitter at Highly O _SS. And again, y'all already on YouTube, so make sure y'all like, subscribe, leave a comment. We will comment back.
John, my brother, you ready to get episode 34 started?
Always, brother. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's start off with some this week in sports. Let's start off with the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns will be looking for their third head coach. We'll be looking for a third head coach in the last 3 seasons. They fired Monty Williams. They fired Frank Vogel. Well, I'm sorry, fourth head coach. They fired Monty Williams. They fired Frank Vogel. They fired Mike Budenholzer. Mike Budenholzer was there 1 year. The Suns went 36-46, finishing 11th place in the Western Conference. Your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns? Obviously, we know they had a disappointing season. I think me and you can agree. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Phoenix Suns were the 2 most disappointing teams this year in the NBA. But if you're a Phoenix Suns fan, what do you think they need to do to improve this roster, and how can they get back to being in the play-in on playoff contention?
Yeah, the Phoenix Suns need to blow it up, blow the team up entirely. Try to literally trade everyone, including Bradley Beal, including Devin Booker. The GM needs to be fired as well because
James Jones.
Yes, because you're hired. You just said it. You're about to hire your 4th coach in the past 3 or 4 seasons. Clearly, something's not right. You think maybe, I don't know if it's the coaching. If you think if the coaching was really an issue, can you at least give the guy 2 seasons? Would it kill you to give him maybe 2 or 3 seasons? This roster can't be fixed in 1 year. We saw no effort from the Phoenix Suns. They mailed it in, packed it in after the All-Star break. When you watch them play, yeah, Kevin Durant was balling. He's doing what Kevin Durant does, and so is Devin Booker. But the collective unit that was the Phoenix Suns this year was an atrocity. It was a collection of individuals that happen to know how to play basketball at at a professional level. That wasn't a team. That wasn't a team that was, scrapping and clawing for their playoff lives, trying to get into the play-in. This was a team that looked like they could not wait for the season to end. Now you can talk about the voice in the locker room being the head coach, but I knew Mike Budenholzer was in trouble. Dare I say, a couple of months ago when he came to Devin Booker and said, "I need you to be less vocal." Now, if you are a coach going to your superstar player and your franchise cornerstone in Devin Booker, and you're talking about him being less vocal, how do you think the locker room is going to respond to that? But again, this is the third coach they've had in three years. Clearly, something is not working with this team, and the GM is failing to see that, which is why I think there should be more attention being paid to James Jones instead of just Mike Budenholzer. But that's how I would fix the Phoenix Suns. It's time to blow it up. Give Devin Booker a chance to win on a relevant team, to give him a chance to win. Ship out Kevin Durant because he's about to be out of there anyway. He was a subject for trade talks during the trade deadline. Bradley Beal, I don't want to hear a damn thing about your no trade clause. It's time for you to get shipped out, go somewhere else. Maybe Miami can use you. Everyone else, we'll figure it out. But this iteration of the Phoenix Suns is not going to work. We've seen far too much evidence, and it's not just coaching. When are we going to start looking at James Jones, the GM?
No, you definitely make a good point about James Jones. His fourth coach in 4 years, so that definitely you can't keep looking at the coach. You got to look at the person who hires the coaches, and that would be James Jones. So I'll give you that. For me, I think in sports, especially in basketball, when you say something is a fluke, you're seen as a hater. But really, a fluke. But when you call something a fluke, you're not being a hater. You're just calling it out like you don't think that's going to happen again. The Phoenix Suns, when they made the NBA Finals, they shouldn't have made the NBA Finals. I'm not hating, but if the Clippers had Kawhi Leonard healthy, they wouldn't have beat the Clippers. So they had a little bit of false hope in making the NBA Finals because they had a little bit of false grandeur in believing that they were great because they made the NBA Finals. They weren't great. It reminded me a couple years ago when Ben Simmons was on the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks beat the 76ers in the second round and they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. They played Milwaukee. The Hawks shouldn't have been in the conference finals. And if you look at it, their moves, ever since they went to the conference finals, they think that they're a player away. Let's go out and get DeJounte Murray. Let's go out and get this guy, that guy. And that's what I feel like happened with the Phoenix Suns a couple years ago. They made the NBA Finals. They had a little Granger in their mind. So they went out and they traded Kevin Durant. They went out here and made a bad trade and got rid of DeAndre Ayton and traded him for Nusif Nurkic. That was a bad trade. Terrible trade. So I think, as you said, they need to clean house in Phoenix. Kevin Durant, I think he'll be showing his walking papers. I think he'll be collaborating to get to get up out of there. I would trade Devin Booker. I would trade Bradley Beal. I would trade Grayson. I would trade the whole roster. Start over. The Phoenix Suns made two mistakes in this whole situation. And it's not about who they hired as a coach. When you talk about mistakes for an organization, you can't just look at it now. You have to go back 5-10 years ago. The first mistake they made was drafting DeAndre Ayton over Luka Doncic. That was the first mistake. The second mistake they made was, okay, now that you know that Luka is significantly better than DeAndre, you trade DeAndre Ayton for Nusif Nurkic. DeAndre Ayton currently is still better than Nusif Nurkic. He's better than him. So you can't compound mistake after mistake after mistake by adding more mistakes on top. You're just going to have a big cluster of what the fuck. And that's what the Suns have. I'm not a fan of trading everybody, but they need to start over like you said. Durant should be traded. Beal should be traded. Booker should be traded. Start over. They need a young, not a young coach because Monty Williams is not young, but they need a young, enthusiastic coach like a Monty Williams to get those young guys going. And then, again, start over.
I agree.
Next in the NBA, the New Orleans Pelicans fired their vice president basketball operations, David Griffin. They fired him after a terrible season with the Pelicans. They're looking to bring in Joe Dumars, former bad boy players from the Detroit Pistons. He was the Detroit executive in the 2000s. All those years they made the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals. I feel the same way about the Pelicans like I do with the Suns. Now the Pelicans is a little different because their best players have been injured. They traded Brandon Ingram away to Toronto. Zion Williamson was hurt Herb Jones was hurt. CJ McCollum's been hurt. They've had guys that's been in and out the lineup. DeJounte Murray tore his what did he tear? Not his ACL, Achilles. He popped his Achilles. So Willie Green wasn't going to get a fair session, a fair view anyway, because they have his best players. I do like them. They got rid of David Griffin. Okay, fine. I do like them bringing in Joe Dumas. He's a seasoned NBA veteran. He knows how to build with front office and build a team. We've seen him do that in Detroit. So I like the move to get Joe Dumas in, but the Pelicans situation is going to come down to health. If Zion Williamson is healthy, well, first of all, it's going to come down to two things. If they still going to believe in Zion, then they'll keep him. If not, they'll trade him. If they keep believing in Zion, the New Orleans Pelicans is going to come down to health.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. I mean, this starts with Zion Williamson. I'm not really sure what firing the GM is really going to do here for this team, because you just hit the nail on the head. Everyone was injured. But the main problem is Zion Williamson not being available since he's been drafted. That's been the issue. When he is out there, he's played very, very well. Like, I mean, he looks like a number 1 overall pick, but for whatever reason, this kid cannot stay on the floor. I don't know. A lot of it was not because of his eating habits. Flirting a little bit too much. Has spent a little bit too much time with that New Orleans gumbo. I get it; it's really good, but when you're a basketball player, you can't have too much of it. That was a knock on Zion, that his eating habits were the problem. Then it was something else. Then it was another injury. Then there's some freak. He's playing. He plays one night, almost the whole game, looks great. Then he's out the next game. So it doesn't really matter who you bring in. If you're going to stick with Zion, you better be sure. And because when this guy's on the floor, New Orleans actually is a decent team. It could be a Western Conference playoff team, given the roster that they have. But at this point in time, like, can you really depend on that? Is it time to explore, finding ways to unload Zion? I mean, I don't want to use the word bust here, but because he's not a bust in terms of talent. I'm not here to say that Zion Williamson is a bust, because he's extremely talented when he is playing, when he's healthy. But the availability or lack thereof has just been so apparent and so damaging to this franchise. It's like, you want to blame David Griffin, yeah, because he's the guy that traded away Anthony Davis to the Lakers, who ultimately won a championship, and then brought in Zion Williamson. These were decisions made by David Griffin. So, but a lot of this is just really it starts and ends with Zion Williamson. Joe Dumars, I'm sure he can fill the job admirably, do just as well a job, if not better than David Griffin did. But your superstar is not going to be available. You're not going to go that far.
Not at all. I mean, in order to win, you have to your best players have to be your best player/players have to be available. I've learned that no more than rooting for the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard. You have to be available. If you're not available, people don't care about what you did in 2014. They don't care about what you did in 2019 that helped Toronto win the champ. They don't care. What have you done for me lately? That's how the world is, and I get it, totally understand. So you have to be healthy. And the Pelicans, we don't really know how good they are because they're always hurt. Whether it's Brandon Ingram when he was on the team, Zion Williamson, CJ McCollum. I mentioned DeJounte Murray. So Herb Jones. We don't know how good they are. So hopefully they can get some good juju and not get hurt next year, and then we can see how good they are.
This kind of reminds me like what's going on in Philly, but yet Daryl Morey still has a job.
How does that
math add up there? How's that math add up?
Yeah, but Daryl Morey, in my opinion, he just got there. He just got there like 2-3 years ago. So I mean, yeah, you can't. And then with this year, he can go to the front office and say, "Man, we lost because we couldn't play our best 3 players together." Now, I think Philadelphia roster is flawed. I'll give you that. But I'm saying you do have the excuse of saying, "Man, we ain't see PG, Maxey, or Joel Embiid play together."
But I'm just saying, like, look at the decisions that he's made since he's gotten there. You give Joel Embiid a 3-year extension on top of the 2 years he had left on his remaining deal. You allow this guy to go play in the Olympics after what we just saw him in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
He was literally unable to dunk. This man's 7'3", and he's unable to dunk because the landing is just too much for his knee. He's literally playing on one leg. Now, he went out there and got damn near 30 still on one leg. That's just how dominant he is. But if you see that, we all see it. How does this guy find his way on the roster for Team USA in the Olympics?
Well, that's not a general manager thing for Philly. That's a Team USA thing. For example, the Team USA sent Kawhi home. The Clippers didn't send him home. Now, do I think Ty Lue was behind the scene? Like, yeah, bro, send him home. Hell yeah, I think he said that because he was thinking about his future.
Man, look. If you're Daryl Morey, bro, you gotta find a way, man. Like, you gotta talk to somebody get on the phone with somebody. This guy cannot go play, and it's not because like he can't. It's just, bro, we got a lot of money tied up into you in Philly, and we ain't seeing you. Like, Embiid is becoming the biggest. He might already be the biggest what if in NBA history. What if he didn't get injured? What if he came in healthy? What if he never had these crazy injuries where he just can't stay on the floor? Paul George, again, massive surprise to me of how bad he was this past season with Philly. But we also knew he had an injury history. You brought that guy in 5 years, over $200 million. This is Daryl Morey now. Now, Tyrese Maxey, you got that right. This kid has a chance to be he's a budding star in the league. So I give you that. You got that one right. But the guys you brought in, the guys you continue to get and throw money at, these guys ain't touching the floor because they can't. It's just I can't help but look at Daryl Morey and question why he still has a job. What has he really done to warrant this like top tier GM?
Yeah,
you know, I look at history in Houston and I look at where we are in Philly. What James Harden said about him publicly, like it's a lot of questions I have now about Daryl Morey.
No, I get that, and that's fair. I'm not saying you shouldn't have questions. I just don't think a guy. I don't necessarily think David Griffin should have lost his job, but I get why they didn't keep him. They got tired of the status quo. I get that. I understand that. As far as with Daryl Morey, he just got there. Like, yeah, you could say it was a bad to give Joel Embiid that money. Joel Embiid is the second best center in the NBA. That wasn't bad at that time. It wasn't bad to give Paul George that money at the time. People were celebrating the move. People were going on TV saying that the Sixers won the offseason. So, again, like I said, I get it. It's hindsight 2020. I know you got more insight than that. I'm not saying you're trying to kill him because of what happened. I just think Daryl Morey deserves at least one, maybe even 2 more years. After that, okay, fine, you want to get rid of him, get rid of him. But David Griffin, go ahead, I'm sorry.
But then you just tell me, like, so what have you done for me lately, type of league?
Yeah, okay. Daryl Morey, the Philadelphia 76ers played like 15, 20 games with their 3 best players. It's 82 games in the season. You're not going to win that way. I'm sorry, you're not. So I can't really kill him for that. Now, if they come together next year and he don't put the right pieces around him, all right, fine, I'll give you that. But I can't judge him for not putting the right pieces around these guys when they got hurt. It's not his fault.
I don't know. I think it's really like just kind of tic-tacky the way to do things. Like David Griffin gets fired even though the Pelicans had everyone injured. The superstar is unavailable, questionable decisions off the court, and then we have Daryl Morey with his injuries. He gets to keep his job. So I just don't know what the whole.
No, I get it. But again, for me, I just feel like Griffin has been there for a little bit longer than Morey. So they got tired of the status quo in New Orleans, and eventually, if Daryl Morey keep doing what he's doing, trust me, he won't have a job. And he'll never have a job again. So I think that the teams in the NBA watching. By the way, the Philadelphia 76ers are interested in bringing in Bob Myers in some type of role. Now, whatever role that is, I don't know, but they're interested in bringing him in for a role.
Smart.
Absolutely. Man, he's the part of the last dynasty in the NBA. It will behoove anybody to ask him, whether it's the Spurs, Heat, etc. He's part of the last dynasty with the Golden State Warriors. Our last topic is, before I let you say his name, I'll introduce it. So Tennessee's quarterback, ladies and gentlemen, I know his first name. His name is Nico. I can never pronounce his last name. So that's why you have a great co-host with you that can help you when you're struggling. So John, his name is Nico what?
His name is Nico Iamaleava.
Nico Iamaleava.
Iamaleava.
Yes,
sir.
Okay, Nico Iamaleava. Yeah. So Tennessee kicked Nico Iamaleava off the team over an NIL situation. Basically, Nico was holding out because he wanted more money from his NIL deal, and he didn't get it from Tennessee. So Tennessee kicked him off the team. Do you have a problem with this? Do you think Tennessee did it well? And before you answer those two, there is a rumor that Nico Nico and Bill Belichick of the North Carolina Tar Heels have interest in each other. So what is your thought process on Nico and his decision to leave Tennessee and basically enter the transfer portal?
America, brace yourself. This is the new world of college sports. Nico Iamaleava is just the first. You're going to start seeing more of this. Players he flat out decided to hold out for a new contract. Now, this kid, Nico Iamaleava, he had 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year for the Volunteers. Had a decent season. Got into the playoff. Ohio State ran roughshod all over them. They looked like they didn't belong there, and he looked very pedestrian. So right there is maybe pause for a little bit, saying, hey, like, you're not one of these elite quarterbacks in college football right now. You're decent. You deserve some money and all that, NIL, whatever, but you had a relatively pedestrian season. Like, you weren't one of the elite guys, and you're coming to the table for more money. I think Tennessee made the right call. You give him what you give him, what you think he deserves based on his performance. And if he's not cool with that, then you let him go. Now, I'm not going to knock Nico for like wanting to get his money. Look, go get your bread, bro. If there's like another school out there that wants to pay you more, let the team know that you want to enter the transfer portal and go seek it. But the way that he handled it has made him a target, because now you're like, look at this kid. He, has no respect for any program. Why would any other team want to pick him up? All this crap is going to be put out there by people who don't want college athletes to get paid. Let's be honest. It's going to be them that's going to be talking the loudest. They're going to be saying, "Hey, see, here we go. This is why these inconsiderate, selfish kids should not get paid. A scholarship should be enough for them." All this blase crap that I don't want to hear about. But because this kid, and we gotta remember, this is a kid. He's not a grown man yet. He's 20 years old, maybe 21. He's a kid. This is in a really weird situation that it's going to make Nico look bad. It's going to make Tennessee look like the heroes because they're not caving to a player. The old saying with a coach, no one player is bigger than the program and all that stuff. And I get it. That's what you want to preach to a program now, especially now. But I think if Nico didn't decide to skip meetings and skip mandatory practice and all that stuff and then announce it like this, if he'd have done that differently, just be straight up like, look, I'm entering the transfer portal. I'm going to look elsewhere to see what else is out there for me. Fine. There's no harm, no foul, especially in this day and age. But and the great Nick Saban had warned us that stuff like this was coming. He said that if the NIL does not get under control, in my opinion, they should have a commissioner. They should have a salary cap. Forget scholarships. Let's make that a contract. Let these student athletes, these recruits, sign a contract that's saying, hey, I'm committed to this school for however many years. Let there be a salary cap. Is there room for negotiation year by year? Sure. But we have to stop acting like this is still the same old NCAA. The NCAA wants to make us think that it's going to stay that way. They would love for it to stay that way, but it's not. The reality is the NCAA in college sports is no longer amateur. It is professional. We have to treat these student athletes like professionals. If you want them to stay, put an academic incentive in their contract saying, hey, you still got to go to class. You still got to take care of your academics. You can't just come and not go to class. Put that in the contract, and then make sure that you know where both parties stand, so we don't have more situations like this. But until that does get fixed, Nico Iamaleava will not be the last quarterback, or dare I say, star player, to possibly hold out.
Nor should he be. I'm not gonna blame Nico. Say his name again.
Nico Iamaleava.
Nico Iamaleava.
You'll get there.
I'll get there one day, ladies and gentlemen. I need to take speech in class because I cannot say this man's last name. I call him Nico I. That's what me and Tim used to call him when we did the show. We call him Nico I. So I'm not blaming Nico I. I'm not blaming Nico. I don't even call him Nico I. I'm not blaming Nico. Nico is a child. There are adults that run the NCAA and that can run this. No, I need the adults in the room to be adults in the room and stand up and be leaders and lead.
His representative, like his dad is one of the representatives that he has on his team, and then, like, I guess he has other people that are talking.
No. I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about the NCAA. The NCAA, like you said, wants you to believe that this is amateur. Man, listen, that was bullshit in the 80s. That was bullshit in the 70s and the 80s. What the hell you think it is now? You think Cooper Flagg went to Duke so he could learn? Yeah, he did. He learned how to play basketball in a better way so he get to the NBA. Yeah, he went to accounting class. He went to world history or whatever they call it. Yeah, he went there. His main class was on that hardwood with that big Duke on there called Mike Krzyzewski Court. That's what his main class was, and I have no problem with that. I'm not blaming no college kid when there are adults that the college that can set rules and set structures for the college kids to follow. I have a child. If I let my son do whatever he wants to do and then I try to discipline him, yeah, it's going to be a problem. But if I say, no, son, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and then you can do that, he understands structure. I'm never going to blame a kid or someone for taking advantage of a structure that adults can fix. The NCAA can fix this. They can make this right. Players were getting paid in the 70s and 80s. Go watch ESPN 30 for 30 Pony Express with SMU. That SMU football got the death penalty. Why did they get the death penalty? Because players were getting paid. Players were getting paid. Your Eric Dickersons and your Craig James got paid, but your bums got paid too. And that's what messed it up. I'm not mad at a college kid for trying to make as much money as he can. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna give y'all some real life advice. Everybody is an economist. What I mean by that, everybody is going out for the highest dollar. If a job tells you they're gonna give you $30, and the next job tells you and they'll give you $40, what job you gonna take? You know what you're gonna take. You're gonna find a way to get to that $40 an hour job. I have no problem with what Nico's doing and what the transfer portal has allowed and what these guys have allowed, what the NCAA has allowed. The NCAA need to put their big boy pants and stop acting like this is some, oh my God, amateurism. Oh man, we can't affect amateurism. You're right, we can't affect amateurism. Maryland is in the Big Ten. They play UCLA. Now how the fuck, how is that amateurism? That ain't amateurism. They in the Big Ten because they wanted to make money. And that's fine. I don't even want to pick on Maryland because I know how the Maryland fans get with me. So let's pick another team. SMU in the ACC. SMU is in Texas. What Atlantic coast is near Texas? Not a damn Atlantic coast. Mexico is closer to Texas than the Atlantic coast, than the Atlantic Ocean is. But hey, man, amateur. No, man, stop.
Lake Galveston down there. That's the closest body of water you're gonna find is Lake Galveston.
That dirty ass water. Shout out to Charles Barkley. Come on, man. Like y'all lying. Y'all know y'all lying. Y'all know y'all about the amateurism. Ooh, man, we gotta protect the kids. Sir, Maryland is 3,000 miles away from California. They had to play UCLA this year. They had to play USC this year. USC and UCLA had to come to Maryland. Come on, man. Get out of here with that BS. Adults, you're an adult for a reason. Take charge. Put structure in. Whether you want them to sign contracts, whatever it is, put structure in so this doesn't happen. The longer that you allow this, the more that you say nothing, the more that this is going to continuously happen. It's going to continuously happen. Nick Saban, I love Nick Saban. Nick Saban could be the commissioner. He could. He don't want that job. I'm going to tell you why. Because he don't want to deal with that headache. He'd rather go coach than deal with this BS. So I'm not blaming Nico at all. Nico, you deal with any that's the word I was looking for, capitalist. Everybody in the world is a capitalist. From the president of the United States to the brokest person in the world. Everybody trying to make a dollar. So come on now. I'm not mad at Nico for trying to get the most money.
It just kind of feels like the NCAA is doing what they can to create this problem. So it's like, see, this is why we can't pay student athletes, because you see what's going on here.
But the cat's already out the bag. They already getting paid. They're not going back to the world. I'm not trying to be funny. They're not going back to the world that you played in. Hey man, listen, man, we're gonna give you money for your room. No, they have NIL now. They have it now. You gotta embrace it.
I'm very sad. I'm very sad that I missed that era.
I know you are.
I was a little bit too old.
If only you was born 10 years later, bro.
I walked so Nico Iamaleava could run. Yeah. That's how I look at it. Go get paid. Go get paid, student athletes. Go get paid.
Next time, John, sit your ass down. Let somebody else take the rock so they can hand the baton to you, and then you can run with the baton. How about that? That's a relay race for you. Let's do that. Sometimes you can't walk for everybody. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the end of the world, but come on, man. Adults, be adults. Make changes. Put structure in place so these kids can't just F over the system. You can't do that. If you don't do nothing, this is what's going to continuously happen in college basketball and in college football. Ladies and gentlemen, you watching Highly Opinionated. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is sponsored by Wolves of War. In some of the episodes, you can see my co-host and Ross wearing a brand called Wolves of War. Wolves of War is our first sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, and we are so thankful to have those guys sponsoring Highly Opinionated. Thank you very much. The actual meaning of Wolves of War is that it represents having a strong path behind you through the battles of life. With the right people behind you, you can get through anything. You guys see the link for Wolves of War? Make sure you guys click on the link. Shop, great apparels, t-shirts, sweatsuits, whatever you want, they have. Once again, Wolves of War. Make sure you guys go shop. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Highly Opinionated. As you can see, I have a very special guest on the scene. This is a reunion for the three guys on the screen right now. All three fine gentlemen were men of intellect, men of faith, men of integrity. You only can find that at one place in Baltimore, Maryland, the great high school, Calvert Hall College High School. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, Let's welcome Ryan to Highly Opinionated. What's up, Ryan? How you doing, my brother?
Thank y'all, man. Thank you for having me. That's why I clap, man. I'm so proud of you guys. The platform that you guys have built, and I'm ready to kind of get in the ring with you guys.
Man, we look forward to this, Ryan. Obviously, both me and John. So it's been weeks in the making. So we're happy to have you here. We're glad to have you here. Before we get started on sports, anything you want to shout out? Just let the audience know anything you got going on, anything you want the world to know what you got going on, brother.
Right now, I just want to, kind of maybe just give a shout out to Calvert Hall, actually. The high school, like you said, is the high school that we all graduated from, kind of, met and built the bond from. So, yeah, give a shout out to Calvert Hall. We got some guys, actually, that we, went there with that's doing some big things on the coaching side, So, yeah, shout out to Calvert Hall and the guys that we know and, we can still, argue with and debate with and things like that.
Absolutely. I feel like that from 2009 to the 2012-13 class, the freshmen to seniors during that time, and graduated to be seniors. I feel that's definitely a strong knit group. Whether it's me and John and Kyle, Ryan and Breon. I don't know if y'all remember Gucci. Shout out to Damien.
Oh yeah.
Man, it's my man. Shout Gucci. I know you watching. I love you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Damien, Lee, and Kyle. So yeah, we had got some great PJ.
Mm-hmm.
Still talking to PJ.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to PJ on his move too as well.
Yes,
so
yes,
it's definitely. I wasn't a fan of going to Calvert Hall for those 4 years, but I will say this: the best experience I had, the opportunity to meet some of the best men I've met in my life that have helped me get to this point. So, like you said, shout out to Calvert Hall. Shout out to the greatness that walked through Calvert Hall from 2007. Well, I'm y'all time. So let's say 2004 to 2010. The greatness that walked through the halls at Calvert Hall.
Yeah, I would agree, man.
John, you got anything to say? You ready to get
I'm ready to get into it, man. Everything I echo all those sentiments. Like meeting great people like Josh, Ryan, the crew. I mean, I just seen a video, man. Daniel Yarborough posted the other day, 15 years ago, at the lunch table. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like all those moments and those conversations we had. Like that's what got you through the day whenever you were having a long one, and that's kind of what just like you look forward to. Like it's one of those it's little things, but that great conversation, with good people and good vibes. Those are little things that give you good energy. So that's one of the little things I always appreciated.
Before we segue, y'all gonna laugh. Before we segue from Calvert Hall to sports, I'm gonna give a shout out to my favorite administrator at Calvert Hall, a person who I was in his office every day. Shout out to the dean of students, Mr. Patrick Kearney. That is my guy.
Yes, sir.
That is my guy. You feel me?
Sir.
That is my guy. I know he's not at Calvert Hall anymore, but that was my guy there. All love. He helped make me the man I needed to be. When you sit in somebody's office every day for detention and you don't even know why you're in there, it makes you a better person, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, it makes you a better person. It's
funny, just real quick. Shout out to Mr. Kern, man. And my mother always says he's the reason I grew my beard. And I came home with the biggest beard I could. So, shout out to Kern, man. And look, we all got beards, so that's definitely
Hey man, look, I really, Mr. Kerr, man. That's the only time. It's senior prom, right? Senior prom about to come in a couple weeks. So I'm like, you know what, bro? I gotta have like a little bit of peach fuzz and everything for my senior prom. I literally went to Mr. Kern's office and said, bro, look, I've been clean shaven all 4 years. I need this little bit of peach fuzz for my senior prom. Like, and he was like, you know what, man, it's all good. You've been a good example. You go in and keep that. He my man.
I'm telling you, man, from senior prom to senior pictures was my time of ducking Mr. Kern because I was going to other people's prom, other girls' proms outside of school and things like that. So I'm trying to keep my little thing together. And man, I took a chance getting my goatee shaped up. So I was really taking a chance. You know what I mean? You keep a little put, man. I'm like, I would just and I ducked them. But man, I definitely made me a man, Calvert Hall for sure.
Man, it was nothing. Like when you saw his office on that right hand side, you would find any and every reason not to go down that hallway. You would, hey man, I left my homework. Oh man, I gotta do this. Nope, not today. I remember one time, y'all know me, I was a hard hair, I was a jackass. So I came into school without I didn't even have a shirt and tie on. You remember that little zipping up fleece? I wore one of them. So he could tell. So he was like, Walker, come here. He was like, look, I know you ain't got your shirt on. The next time I see you, if you don't have a shirt and tie on, you're gonna be sitting with me for the rest of the year. Bro, I couldn't run in my locker fast enough to get that shirt. I already had the tie right there. I was already ready. You feel me? So
man, remember everything, man.
Everything. Mr. Karen, we all love you, man. We had great times. No, Thank you for making us all three men while we're at Calvert Hall. We definitely needed that.
No question.
Well, Ron, we see under your name, Bucks and 5, so you're a basketball fan. It's the NBA playoffs time.
Yes,
who's your team? We'll let the world know who's your team.
Well, no surprise. I like the Milwaukee Bucks. It's funny, man. I always start by saying I'm a Kobe fan, Kobe fanatic. Grew up liking the Lakers. Grew up in I'm 33, so I'm not too old, but I grew up in the Lakers dynasty time. I loved Shaq and Kobe together. I loved Kobe growing up. I didn't watch the 81-point game, but I watched it on ESPN maybe 2 days later or something like that. It was actually a Saturday or a Sunday, but I just love Kobe to the dead of my heart. And when Kobe left the league, actually, I had my my fandom was kind of up for grabs. I could kind of stay with the Lakers, I put in my time, or do I want to, so I bounced around with players. I like players. I love Paul George when he was with Indiana. I love James Harden when he was, OKC and the Rockets. I love a scorer type of player. And I grew up, unfortunately, guys, I grew up not liking LeBron. And I love everything about him off the court. It's nothing against him. But like I said, I love the battles with him in Indiana against Paul George. When Paul George was coming up, crazy enough, I thought Indiana would get him back then. And, searching and finding teams. And, man, I just been watching the Bucks for some years. I love Giannis's growth. I really started paying attention to him maybe a few years ago during the summer. I don't know, one of the guys, either Kevin Durant or LeBron, said that he doesn't work out with anybody. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to work out with anybody during the summer. He still has that, it's not all lovey-dovey feel. You know what I mean? So, ain't no problem with guys getting together and things like that. But Giannis still has that it's me against everybody mentality. And, he's funny, and he's a leader, and he went after that championship, and I think he can do it again.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, that's not a bad pick for the player you want to watch. Like Giannis Antetokounmpo is he's like one of the last of like what I say kind of a dying breed. I don't want to work out with my opponent. I don't want to team up with guys, that I've lost to and everything. I want to beat you. You know what I mean? It's like we can be cool like off the court if I see you around, like, all right, cool, I'll be cordial and everything. But we ain't about to be like this whole seeing me summer workouts with you and everything, and then like we gotta play against each other. Now Kobe Bryant, my favorite player of all time. He did do some of that, but he had a plan with it. He was like, look, I'm gonna work out with you so I can see all your weaknesses and all your tendencies, so I can use them against you.
Yeah.
But Giannis flat out is just, he wants to stick it out with Milwaukee. He wanted to stay and just kind of like, because he felt like he owed the franchise for giving him a chance, like when he first came out of Greece. There's a sense of loyalty that we don't really see anymore. Not as in pro sports, but now we're seeing it more in college sports. So it's just like it's something you appreciate. He's really got like the old school mentality. I wish you would kind of abandon that loyalty and kind of like go search for a better team so you can win more championships. I think he's too damn good to have this one championship in my opinion. And I think he can really bolster the championship odds of other great teams out there. But I still applaud him for who he is and everything that you say. Him with the dad jokes and everything. That's Giannis. I believe that's the real him. So he seems authentic. he's a guy that's very easy to root for, in my opinion.
Yeah,
No,
I like.
I agree.
I like Giannis. Ryan, man, you go back and forth on Twitter. We just disagree about him being the best player, but I can't lie and tell you that he's not the second or third best player. And if you're in the conversation to be the second and third best player, I can see why somebody thinks you're the best player. So I'm not saying you're crazy for that. I get that. Giannis is an amazing human being, in my opinion. Yeah, he's corny with the dad jokes. He's corny with the winning is more important than sex. Like, bro, you have more babies than you do championships. So I'm not killing you for that. But I mean, Giannis is corny, and I get that. My favorite football player of all time is Tom Brady. Tom Brady was corny. So I have no problem with how that works and how that goes. That is what it is. For me, I just, with Milwaukee specifically on the team, I think they'll beat Indiana in the first round, but I don't think they'll beat Boston or Cleveland. I just don't think they have the team that can do that. I'm not as high on Damian Lillard as the rest of y'all. I think he's a very good player. I think he's a great player, but he's showing me he can't be your best player to win the championship. He's showing me now he can't be your second best player to win the championship. So they went out and got Kyle Kuzma. It's okay. What really dug Milwaukee in was Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton not being able to come back and be that form that he was in that championship season, because Chris Middleton was y'all closer when y'all won the championship. He was the guy that what y'all wanted Dame to be. That's what Middleton was. He was hitting timely buckets at the end, because we know Giannis is not the best shooter, but he was hitting timely buckets at the end for Milwaukee. And y'all had Drew Holiday who could strap somebody down. Y'all traded that away for Damian Lillard and basically traded offense away for defense. So I love Giannis. I think the 5 best players in the world are non-American. Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, who else am I? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I know y'all might be saying I might be a little bit facetious. I'm putting Victor Wembanyama in that top 5. All 5 of them guys are not from the United States.
Yep.
So I love Giannis.
Let me in the top 5 already.
Yeah, for me, yeah, I think he's better. For me, I think he's a better player than Anthony Edwards. I think he's a better player than some of these guys are old. So KD, LeBron, and Steph, they're old. So yeah, you can put them up there, but he's younger than them. So he's going to be better than them. Go ahead, Ron.
No, I was thinking of Tatum. I was thinking of Anthony Edwards as well. I mean, just for players that would have something to say about it. But I understand, why you would put him there. I mean, he's definitely a talent to watch. And a lot of projections, especially in the NBA, is on future, which, what you're going to do in the future. So he's got a heck of an upside. Wemby is definitely somebody. I always thought they were pulling the rug, the Spurs, by trying to get a top pick to add to that team, because even when Wemby was there, when they added De'Aaron Fox, that team looked like, it could be at least be in a play-in.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? If they were healthy early. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. It's definitely about the team fit nowadays. You know what I mean? We already know, like you said, Giannis is top 1 through 3. Jokic is top 1 through 3. These players are, great, but do they have the pieces? And that's what I think. The Bucks have the pieces without even knowing it. I think they definitely changed it up and kind of got Damian Lillard to, make up for giving, up Drew Holiday. But these young players, I mean, I'm telling you, Kevin Porter Jr.
I love him.
Special in the playoffs.
Played for the Clippers. Y'all traded him. With the Clippers. I know about Kevin Porter. Only reason why he wasn't in the league because he had a domestic violence situation.
Right.
Kevin Porter,
for sure. So he's been playing excellent. Like I said, just that 7 or 8 game win streak kind of showed me some things. They kind of had a 7 or 8 game losing streak last season going into the playoffs. So the mindset was off. I mean, they lost by 20 or 25 during the first. That in-season tournament during the regular season, that one that's new.
Yeah, in-season tournament.
They lost bad to the Pacers last year in that tournament that kind of started the season last year off wrong. So I think they got some things different. Like I said, I mean, we watched a 20 assist game from Giannis maybe a week ago, followed up by another 10 assist game. So, I mean, I think he's doing everything that needs to be done to stay in the MVP race and to win these games, man. You know what I mean? I'm mad they didn't win 50 games, though, but 48 is right where we need to be, I feel like.
Got you. John, you want to keep going? You want me to ask the next question?
Oh, we can go to the next question.
Okay. All right. So you obviously like the Bucks. I'm assuming you have them beating the Pacers in the first round. I think they're probably this year's second round team, especially without Damian Lillard. How far do you think the Bucks can go this year?
It's interesting. I'm glad you asked me that because I had a thought in my mind of a team that I don't think, I guess, for lack of a better word, or like a fluke team or a team that I don't think as good as they really are. And I think it's the Knicks. I'm not sure if I'm sold on the Knicks just yet. And that's just another team out the East. Now the Celtics have made the most threes in a season and, these things like that. And they are defending champions. You know what I mean? But yeah, the Knicks kind of look like they can be beat. The Cavs, we'll see. They won a bunch of games, but we'll see. So yeah, I think we can, stretch further than, the second round. I think it gets interesting when you play the Celtics. I don't want to be naive. You know what I mean? The Celtics are a good team. They got, they gel. That's what I said. It's about the team. It's people think the NBA is just one-on-one and things like that when it's really not. If you watch it, or at least it's changed. You got to play, man. You got to come play.
You got to have a good team. It's not just one player, two players. You got to have a good team.
Quick shout out, real random, and it's the NBA, but I want to just shout out Russell Westbrook. I watched Denver for Jokic, but I'm just so proud of Westbrook. Seemed like he found a team that he's able to gel with that, or it's even Jokic is so good. You could just play, anybody can pick and play with him. But I just think I think he just found a good home, at least for now, that I'm just proud of. I always wanted, Westbrook to have some success, man. They beat up on him.
Yeah, the media beats the hell out of Russell Westbrook. I don't know why. One of the most likable guys, just because he's not the best shooter, just because he doesn't have – I don't even want to say he doesn't have the best IQ, but Russell's mentality is I'm going to make it happen. It's not even bad. IQ is bad. It's just that that's his mentality. And let me say this. I will never shit on any professional athlete that gives me maximum effort, that's willing to play every night, that's willing to do it, that's willing to bust his ass for my team.
Bingo.
And because he can't shoot, well, okay, fine. He can't shoot. That's a liability. Okay, he's not the best defender. That's a lot. Okay, fine. But let's talk about what he does do well. The man brings energy. Denver is the 4 seed. They won at least two or three of regular season games because of Russell Westbrook's energy. He brings that energy. How I know that? Y'all know I picked the Clippers last year. We'll see who I pick at the end of the show this year to win the West. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. But regardless of that, I picked the Clippers last year. They had Russ. They didn't lose last year because of Russ. Now we know why they lost, but that's another subject for another day. It's the same story, same songs, same song, different day. Best player wasn't available, you lose. But Russell Westbrook is not some badass human being that these guys try to shit out here and make him. I hate that. The Nuggets, they really tried to blame Russ for that. Nah. The coach and the GM hated each other before Russ even got there.
Yeah.
So it's bro, what are y'all doing here? No, listen, my grandfather used to always say, boy, your grandmother used to say, every problem in the world is my fault. Well, bitch, I'm getting away from you. It ain't my fault. That's where Russ, I don't want Russ to retire. I don't. But, I would love for Russ not to be, well, you know what? Picture this. Imagine this. I think the Clippers are going to beat the Nuggets. So imagine this. Imagine what's going to happen. Well, damn, Russell Westbrook lost to the team that Russell Westbrook was on, got better, and they beat the team that he was on. You feel me? I hate that. Russ is a hell of a player. He's a hell of a player. Let's embrace him for what he is. Not diminish him for what he doesn't do. That's BS. Go ahead, Joe.
Russell Westbrook is a Hall of Famer.
First ballot.
Anybody who thinks differently, you don't watch basketball, and you, quite frankly, are stupid. I hate to even use that word, but that's what comes to mind. Russell Westbrook is a Hall of Famer.
My bad, John. My bad, John and Ryan. I'm sorry. Y'all know me. Y'all nice. I'm gonna be me. Anybody that think Russell Westbrook ain't a Hall of Famer or one of the best point guards ever, you don't know basketball. You can kiss my ass. Straight up. That's what it is. Because he's one of those players.
I agree, though.
Is he the best player? Hell no. but he's one of the best point guards to ever lay. Well, you got him 5, 7, whatever. I don't care. If you got Chris Paul right there, that's fine. Whatever. I don't care about that. He's one of the best point guards ever. Stop shitting on this man because he can't shoot. We can't do this or we can't do that. We all got deficiencies. We all got problems. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That's me on my soapbox. Y'all can continue. I apologize.
Russell's great for like the Clip. Russell's playing great for the Clippers last year. I thought so, in my opinion. Like when he found a team where like his game could fit in. That ever since when he came to the first game to the Lakers, I was one of those people saying like, don't do this. This is a terrible idea. It's not because I don't love Russ. This is because this wasn't going to work with LeBron James and Anthony Davis in particular. This particular team was not going to look good with Russell Westbrook. I just saw that a mile away, and I was like, don't do this trade. Don't do it. Everybody on Facebook came with me like, it's cool. It's LeBron. He'll figure it out. Like, this ain't about LeBron. This is about Westbrook. This is not going to work. And then one season later, halfway through the season, everyone's circling back saying, damn, John, you was right. I'm like, I know I was right. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But look, you get Russ out of there. You go to the Clippers. He's playing well. He's played very well for Denver. He's been like you guys said, the Energizer Bunny, leadership, things that the Nuggets need for some of their younger players. Westbrook has not been the problem with Denver, and for the GM to come out and say like part of the reason Mike Malone was fired it had to do with Russell Westbrook, that to me is a low blow. That's really like cowardice in my opinion. Like you're gonna put crap on a player who's played well for you because you want to play some younger guys who really haven't shown much, like to me anyway, like why they should be on the floor more than Russell Westbrook. To me, that's really weak.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting, going forward, especially going into the playoffs, making that, big jump. It's going to be interesting, man. I thought Mike Malone was a great coach, but when it's decisions made like that so sudden, so quick, like I said before the playoffs, it's something that's couldn't be settled. So it's a business, and it's a business. So
and we know Jokic didn't get him fired. He can't even speak English. Yeah. So like, come on now, like we know Jokic didn't want him to get fired. He can't even speak English. I'm joking. Nikola Jokic can speak English, but I'm just saying like that was his guy. They won the championship with him. Jamal Murray, that was his guy. Like I don't want. Ryan, this is the one thing I couldn't understand about that. Ryan, I'm sure let me not speak for y'all. I'm gonna speak for me. I've been fired before. I've been fired by a job. I've been fired by a woman before. A woman that I was dating. It ain't a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. But when you go back and you think about don't laugh. When you go back and you think about why you got fired, you're like, okay, I wasn't doing this, I wasn't doing that. They had their reasons.
Yep.
Bro, Mike Malone had. If you were going to fire Mike Malone at the end of the season, then fire him at the end of the season when the season is over. Don't fire him now. Why the hell would you fire him now? You think you're going to get a spark for firing the coach that led you to a championship? Come on, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. Like I said, we'll see. We'll see. The West is deep. The good thing about Jokic is he just won a ball, man. I will say.
He a hooper.
You know what I mean? Him and Giannis, they have that mentality. They want to hoop, man. They want whoever I'm out here with, I want you to give the same effort. But go ahead, John.
Go ahead, bro. You got
I wanted to touch on like your opinion with the Bucks. I don't see them getting out of this series with the Pacers. Like the fact that Damian Lillard is not there, I think that severely compromises them offensively. Mm-hmm. I know what Giannis brings to the table. He is virtually unstoppable at times. But I do question the consistency of the parts around him. Kevin Porter Jr. That's a good, name to mention. This kid can play. I know that. Mm-hmm. But I question the consistency in the playoff series with guys like that. I question Bobby Porter's at this point. It's like these aren't. Kuzma is another one. It's like, yeah, like at times they look great. Like Kuzma's like basically a healthy Middleton, which they haven't had over the past few years, which led them trading him. But I just look at the Pacers the way that they've been playing. I think Tyrese Halliburton continues to be one of the more underrated players in the league. I think the addition of Pascal Siakam is really what to me that's what gives them the edge with Milwaukee not having Dame. Now again, if Dame's there, no question about it, I'm picking Milwaukee. But it's just like looking at how Indiana runs their offense. They are very like high speed running gun. Halliburton at the controls. You got Siakam down there. You got TJ McConnell, who's the ultimate pest coming off the bench. I just look at all the pieces that Indiana has versus like what Milwaukee is missing without Dame. I'm not saying that it'll be like a 5-game series or a 6-game. I can see it possibly going 7. But I think Indiana just has a little bit more right now than Milwaukee. That's where I'm at with it.
Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, I respect, that point totally. I think, not having Dame would not be the excuse, but it would be the understanding thing, that's why the Bucks lost and things like that. Whereas though I just think that, with these bench players that's coming off the bench and giving that spark, I think they can, like I said, not only lead them past Indiana, but go a little bit. It's crazy. I look at the Bucks. I mean, I look at the Pacers. Siakam is a great pickup. I loved him in Toronto, and he definitely stretches the floor. But I think the Bucks. I think the Bucks learn now. Like I said, I mean, they exposed them last season, last playoffs. Beating them kind of. Like it looked like
Giannis is injured. I don't even put that on the bus. Giannis was compromised. Dame was compromised until he came back later in the series. I don't even really put that on Milwaukee at that point.
Yeah. And when I think about those things, I think a healthy Giannis just shifts the game totally. Whereas though we miss Dame, but if the Kuzmas and Kevin Porter Jr.'s are at least giving up 15 plus effort points, they can do some damage, man.
Yeah, I like. It's a tough series. I like Milwaukee in this series because I feel like they have the best player. Now, Ryan, in the second round, I think you do. And now, for y'all to beat Cleveland, I'm not really greatly sold on Cleveland, but I do like their parts more than y'all, more than what y'all had without Dame. But I do think y'all can beat Indiana. The reason why I think y'all can beat Indiana is because the type of style Indiana play can work in y'all favor if y'all get up and down. Indiana doesn't want to play defense. That's why they're in the position they're in now. Y'all, ladies and gentlemen, y'all do know the Indiana Pacers were in the conference finals last year. They will not be in the conference finals this year. I don't give a damn. They win a first round series or whatever. They won't be in the conference finals this year. Why? Their defense hasn't gotten better. John, you said Tyrese Halliburton is underrated. No. He's properly rated. He's a nice guy. But when the money on the line, bro, I've seen players play better than him. I've seen players be better than him. So I'm not. I think Tyrese Halliburton is a good player. Could be a very good player. Will never be a superstar. No disrespect to him. I'm not Tyrese. Don't Wally Zerbiak me like you did Wally Zerbiak. I'm just giving you my opinion. I think you're a great player. I just don't think you're a superstar, and that's fine. But the Pacers' downfall, they don't play defense. I watched that game a couple days ago. The Cavaliers set Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. The Cavaliers had a chance to win the game with their B squad in the game against the Pacers. The Pacers were playing everybody. Tyrese Halliburton was playing. Miles Turner was playing. Neesmith was playing. All them guys were playing. So I think the Pacers are a good team. They're your average NBA playoff team. Win a couple games during the regular season, beat a couple teams they weren't supposed to beat up on bad teams. And then when they get to the playoffs and they play somebody that, that's on their level, that ain't got no injuries, kind of like that. For example, let's go back to the Pacers playoff record last year. They played Milwaukee in the first round. They beat Milwaukee. No Giannis. Forget Dame. No Giannis. In the second round, they beat the Knicks. Jalen Brunson got hurt in that series. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take my glasses off for this one because this is kind of very, very important. Not even ladies. Gentlemen, I'm going to take my glasses off for this one. It's kind of very, very important statement. What happens in the Eastern Conference Finals when they played a team that didn't have no injuries and didn't have nothing to them? That ass got swept. See you next year. So my point is that the Pacers are a nice team. They're a nice playoff team. If the Giannis, you're a superstar. I know you're a superstar. Ain't no debate over here. I need you to win that series. Get your get back for last year when they beat y'all. Now you back. Do your thing. The Pacers have nobody that can stick Giannis. Not Pascal Siakam. Not Miles Turner. Not whoever. Not Tyrese Halliburton. They have nobody to stick Giannis. All Milwaukee need is them shooters to be hitting when Giannis pass you the ball. That's all you need to do. Yep. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like you said. It could possibly go 7. I'm being facetious. Bucks at 5, but yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. They got a good, like I said, it's about the team. It's about that mesh. It's about the gel, and they got some years under that belt with that crew of Miles Turner and Halliburton. But the Bucks got something to prove, man.
And shout out, let me say this. Where the Pacers do have the advantage, I don't want to shit on Doc Rivers. But Rick Carlisle, to me, is a better coach than Doc Rivers. So if the Pacers can win, I would think Rick Carlisle could come up with something a little bit more than Doc. I think Doc Rivers is one of the best coaches I've ever seen, but he's too stubborn in his he's lived
Right.
like let's go. I'm gonna go back to a time in 2000 and what year was that? 2010. The Celtics should have beat the Lakers. They should have beat the Lakers in the finals. Doc Rivers didn't make no adjustments after losing Kendrick Perkins in Game 5. It was Game 5 because he missed Game 6 and Game 7. He made no adjustments. So he had old ass Rasheed Wallace expending himself. That's why Rasheed Wallace retired literally right after the game because he was done. He wore him out. Doc Rivers does not make the adjustments that he needs to make for his teams. I expect Rick Carlisle to make those adjustments. I'm picking the Bucks. But my only caveat, my only concern is that Rick Carlisle, Doc Rivers. I think Rick Carlisle is a better coach than Doc Rivers.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with you. That would be, one of my concerns as well. Doc, seems like when he gets down to the stretch, he wants to stay in his ways and wants to kind of I don't think he thinks he's hurting the team. So he wants to, be the guy to save the day, but he has to remember, it's a new day, a new age. And he has a player and all players that want to win the game for him. You know what I mean? So even that, decision that could change some things. If they get down, he likes to, not call a timeout and, let them fight through it. And it's just like, you just got to just weigh your options. I would say just weigh the options. It's the playoffs, man.
John, I'm going to say this, and then I'll let you go, I promise. The only coach I've ever seen that let teams go on the run and not call timeout was Phil Jackson. And I'm looking up Phil Jackson rosters. He had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant. Hey, bro, I ain't calling shit either. Go ahead, John. You run it, bro. Go ahead, bro. You got it. I ain't enough for me to call. You could be up 20. We going to come back with them 4 players on the or at least with them 2 players on the team, whatever 2 you want to pick. Oh, we coming back. Damn, Kobe don't need to look at me. Jordan don't need me to call no play. He know his ass down 20. Go ahead, bro. Do your thing.
Yeah, I kind of see like this mini Doc Rivers tree. Doc Rivers being one of them, and then Tom Thibodeau. I think at times Tom Thibodeau does the same thing. Like he kind of sticks to his guns and doesn't really make adjustments late in games when he should. I mean, people question like Tom Thibodeau's style of coaching altogether. It's like Mikal Bridges, of all people, who never complains about being available. He literally came in and played 6 seconds, committed a foul. So you get in the stat sheet for like the fact that he played another game to keep that streak going. So this guy is talking about, I think we run too damn much in practice. I think maybe if we ease up a little bit, it'd be good for us. And he wasn't wrong. That's what's crazy. He wasn't wrong because last year we saw it. The Knicks were literally falling apart right before our very eyes in the playoffs. Josh Hart, injury. DiVincenzo, injury. And then finally Jalen Brunson goes down. That was it for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Again, people come back and point to Tom Thibodeau's in his way of coaching. He won't budge in that situation. So you're right about that. The best coaching is going to matter even more in the playoffs. And if you aren't a guy that's going to adjust, especially in late game situations, that's going to cost you some games. And then you look back and like, well, how we lose that playoff series when we were playing this well and we lost by 2, we lost by 3. It's little points in the game where coaching would matter.
Yep, I agree.
Ryan, so obviously you like the Bucks. Who do you think will win the Western Conference?
I was waiting to get into that. I said we spending a lot on the East Coast. It's a few teams that I like on the West. Like I said, I'm a Harden fan, so I do like the Clippers. I have more faith in the Bucks without Dame than I do with the Clippers with their full healthy roster because of years of disappointment.
No, I get you.
So
you got that.
The bubble playoff run for the Clippers for me was a total letdown, man. I'm telling you, it was a gut punch, man. I'm a big Paul George fan, and I seen that jersey. When I first got on here, it blinded me. You know what I mean? The shot, nice shot.
But that's the guy. But who's the guy that took out the Clippers in the bubble?
Yeah,
Jokic.
Oh no! It was another guy too.
Nah. We beat the Mavs, bro. Don't do that. We beat the Mavs. I'm sorry. Years after Luka took you guys out. I'm sorry. Yeah, he took us out last year.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's like I said, I got love for her, and I want to actually witness the Clippers going to the finals, maybe. You know what I mean? In my lifetime, in my little lifetime, it's crazy. But yeah, man, like I said, I like Anthony Edwards. I think I joke and kid on Twitter and things like that, but I think the Lakers have a little bit more for Minnesota. So they'll get them maybe 4-2, even 4-1 or 4-2. LeBron is still LeBron, man. You know, man, he's playing impeccable. He got a good mate to go right along with him, man. So the Lakers look good. I mean, Buddy was telling me, what they gonna do when we play small ball. So it's just, the Lakers got a lot of ways to come at you. So we'll see. But yeah, I guess I'll say I'm rooting for the Clippers. Like I said, I got 35-45%. Thinking that they'll go all the way, at least to the Western Conference Finals. Just like I said, from the resume, years and years of injury and or tough losses, man. Tough losses. That was.
I don't blame nobody. I like the Clippers too, obviously. I don't blame nobody if they don't believe in the Clippers, because you have to see it. Now, the reason why I believe in the Clippers is a little differently than you. I think that brother number 2, when number 2 is healthy, that's the best player in the league. And what I mean by that, let me go back in time. All your favorite players in their apex, in their prime, they had a problem with number 2. LeBron James had a problem with number 2. Kevin Durant. Ooh, Kawhi Leonard used to D that ass up. Steph Curry. James Harden. Whoever you like, Kawhi Leonard sent home. In some type of way, he sent you home. It was I know it was the Warriors before they became the Warriors. Fine. He sent KD home before. He sent LeBron home. He sent Steph home. When Kawhi Leonard is healthy, I don't think there's a better basket. I'm talking about wings. I'm not talking about centers and all that. I'm just talking about wings. So I would include Giannis, LeBron, Durant, Tatum, all that. When Kawhi Leonard is healthy, I don't think there's a better basketball player than him, because the difference of him and those other guys, they can't do it on both ends. Maybe Giannis. LeBron can't play defense now. We're too old. Tatum, I didn't see him get worked on. Who else we talking about? Steph Curry, too small, so you can pick and roll him, post him up, and take advantage of him. James Harden, I love James. He's a great offensive player. James Harden made one of my all-NBA teams this year. That's how great I think James is. But James is if James not hitting shots, that affects his mental. We've seen that in playoff history before too. So I think Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, is one of the best players, if not the best player. So I can totally understand why people would not believe in the Clippers, because you need to see them do it. It's kind of like the Cavaliers in the East, and it's kind of like the Thunder in the West. We need to see you do it before we believe in you. And the teams that you mentioned, whether it's the Lakers, the Clippers, I know you didn't mention Golden State, Denver. I think those 4. I think the OKC. Those are the 5 best teams in the West to me, because majority of those teams we've seen do it. Kawhi has been a long time, but we've seen you do it. Ty Lue, we've seen you do it. Luka, you just went to the finals last year. LeBron, your resume speaks for itself. Steph Curry, your resume speaks for itself. Draymond, your resume speaks for itself. Jimmy Butler, you took 2 bad, average or bad Miami Heat teams to the finals. So you would think with better talent, you could be better. So we need to. I have no problem in nobody not believing in the Clippers. I would say this though. This will be my only thing about the Clippers. Last year, the NBA finalist from the Western Conference was a 5 seed. It was the Dallas Mavericks. This year, the Clippers are a 5 seed, and they have kind of like the similar road to what the Dallas Mavericks had last year. I'll just leave it at that. We're looking at symmetry. You feel me? I'll just
sneaky statistical.
That's really cute. That's a really cute segment by the both of you guys for the Clippers. It's very cute. I make fun of teams like Cleveland because you just have a history of losing. Sometimes you just. I remember that we all seen Power, right? We all watch Power. We know James Patrick. That scene where he literally told Tate, "This is why you lose and this is why I win."
Yep.
That's how I feel being a Lakers fan to the Clippers.
Oh yeah.
I always win, and you always find a way to lose.
Yeah.
That's been the Clippers literally forever since their existence. They will always be little brother in LA. I thought personally they should be finding a way to go to Vegas and be the next, new NBA team in Vegas, just so they can get their own fan base. I understand what you're saying about Kawhi Leonard. When he's healthy, he is one of the best players in the world. But there is no evidence that I can believe in that. There's no evidence. Something pops up. And look, I am not wishing this on Kawhi Leonard because I want him to be out there. I enjoy watching him play. So I do not wish anything bad on Kawhi. I want him to be healthy. But it just seems like every single year something comes up. And it's hard for me to sit back and say, well, yeah, he'll be there. And say it with a straight face with 100% confidence. And then it just makes me, and I laugh and joke about that because it's like, yo, the Clippers are just like one of the cursed franchises, like Cleveland. I don't buy, moving on to the Cavs, I don't buy Cleveland. I think they might get to the East Finals. I think they're going to get absolutely thrashed by Boston and maybe in 5 because I just don't think they can beat Boston. That's the only team that they can beat. They've beaten everyone. They can beat everyone else. I just don't think they can beat Boston. You know, in the Western Conference, I was very suspect about this before, but now that I've seen how Luka Doncic has fit in with LeBron and this Lakers team, you tell me a team in the West that you're confident can take this Lakers team right now. Like who do you believe? Don't give me, I don't know about Oklahoma City. I saw enough in those 2 games. Even when Luka Doncic got ejected in that second game, OKC didn't look great against the Lakers. Nobody believes in Houston. There's a bunch of kids that had a great regular season, coached by Ime Udoka. Nobody believes they're going to beat them. The Clippers, we're not sure about Kawhi. Golden State, I think at times their lack of size has gone against them, and it's been a liability for them. So I'm not sure if they're going to take them out. And I got to channel my inner Shannon Sharp real quick when it comes to Minnesota. Minnesota, Motorola, Coca-Cola. Lakers at 5.
You sound just like them too, man. I mean, a lot of that stuff I agree with. You know, like I said, I would. I think the Clippers, you know, could possibly come up with something this year. Out of any of the years, I feel like they, you know, going into the playoffs healthy. But sometimes I question Kawhi's leadership. You know what I mean? Being a leader, pulling everybody in. Sometimes he's an isolated player that, you know, kind of like it just doesn't, you know, mesh with everything. I mean, you don't have to have 40 assists, but I do want to, you know, see if the leadership is there. It's something missing because, like you said, he is one of the best players in the world when he's healthy and when he's on the floor. But it's more than, you know, maybe just injury. It's something there. Even when he's there, you know, some games are not getting finished off. You know what I mean? They're going down to the wire, and
he's not vocal. He's not a vocal leader at all. He's never a vocal leader. He's never the guy that's gonna get in your face. Harden might do it a little bit, but it's like you want your star player to kind of. It's playoff time. You know, you kind of got to get guys going and everything. Kawhi's never been that guy. He's a lead by example kind of guy, and I get it, but you need a little more than that from him if I personally can take the Clippers seriously. I gotta see it.
Yeah. Shout out to Steve Ballmer. For some reason, I like the Clippers owner. He just seems enthusiastic and, you know.
Yeah, he is that.
Yeah. You know,
slap your hand. He'll break the hell out your hand when he slap it.
Yeah. I got to get to the Intuit Dome as well. But yeah, man, like you said, it's a lot of teams on the West Coast, on the Western Conference that's going to, you know, do some damage. I forgot about Houston, man. You gotta give it up to Udoka. You know what I mean? Just, you know, switching teams and, you know, showing that. I always say, man, if you can win amongst the, you know, criticism or, you know, anything that you're facing, if you can win, man, you can kind of change the storyline of how people see you. You know what I mean? We kind of don't forgot, especially if they can either win a series.
Yeah, I was going to say probably could change it in basketball, but we ain't never going to forget that all-time fumble he had off the court.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Trusty in the community.
I pray for that man to this day.
Yes,
I don't know what the hell you was thinking, dog. But you know what? Phenomenal coach. He can coach his ass off. I ain't got nothing to say about him on the court.
Yeah,
Big bro.
Got me calling that man. Now you got me calling him Nico. Iamaleava, whatever his name is. Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka. I'm not going to put you down on this show, but bro, you got to have better decision making in your life. You gotta have better discernment. Right. You can't be out here throwing away a $10 bill for 10 $1 bills. It's $10, but it's not the same value. And what you was out here doing in your extracurricular time, you should have been at home doing that with Miss Nia Long. You found me? But I digress. However you want to do it, you do you. Ime Udoka, you're a hell of a coach. I'm sure we will hear your name in the Coach of the Year discussion later on in the show. But yeah, you got to have better judgment.
For sure. Be along. I'm here for you if you need me. Just the same.
Yes, sir.
And on that note, Ryan, it was great to have you on the show.
Man, thank you guys.
To having you back again, my brother. Before we get you out of here, I know you like the Bucks. So who do you think the Bucks are playing in the finals?
So of course I'm going Bucks. And I'm like, I think the show has steered me to stand on business. And I think I'm gonna stand on the Clippers going to the finals, man. You know, their first appearance in the finals, and let's make it a Bucks Clippers finals, man. How about that?
I love it. If the Clippers get to the finals, you can come on every week. Every week during the finals, you come on every week. I'm gonna need the love and the support.
Man. It's a shiny jersey. The jersey is blinding me. You know what I mean? So
that's a side of championships, my friend. That is a side of championships. Some of the Clippers might never know nothing about.
Yeah, they'll as long as if Kawhi Leonard is healthy, I feel like they will experience a championship in their time. I really do.
I'm gonna say I'm enjoying every second of LeBron playing in the playoffs, though. You know what I mean? This is something we never ever seen, and him playing at this high clip. I can't wait to watch him in the playoffs. Don't get it twisted.
40 years old doesn't make any sense. The man looks better than damn near half the league right now. All these 25-year-olds. LeBron has had the most unbelievable career, I think, for any athlete. You know, 30 years old and still be averaging 24 points a game.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady doesn't play defense, buddy.
And LeBron, you seen? That's all right, bro. I'm sorry.
You're required to play defense in basketball. You can't.
You're 100% right.
Chase down King. That's Mr. Chase down King.
So when we gonna be, I'm gonna watch the Lakers. I'm gonna get the schedule out in a second. We're gonna watch the Lakers. I'm gonna watch LeBron intently on that defensive end to see how good he is. Ladies and gentlemen, the actual NBA playoffs start Saturday at 1:00 on ESPN. Ryan's Bucks game 1. They take on the Indiana Pacers Saturday at 1:00. Saturday at 3:30, the Los Angeles Clippers travel to the Denver Nuggets. Saturday at 6:00, the Detroit Pistons travel to the New York Knicks. And Saturday at 8:30 Eastern. Can't believe this game is in prime time. I mean, why would they put this game in prime time? The Minnesota Timberwolves travel to face the Los Angeles Lakers. Ryan, pleasure having you on, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Can't wait to have you on again.
Appreciate you, OG.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here on Highly Opinionated. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is brought to you by Edibly Airy. Enjoy the heightened experience of THC edibles in a whole new way. At Edibly Airy, our freeze-dry edibles available in 100 milligram, 200 milligram, 300 milligram, 400 milligram will give you the buzz you crave with a flavor you won't forget. Available in 3 different flavors: watermelon sunset, tropical fruit, and very berry. To place orders, please visit the website at ediblyairy.com. While you're there at ediblyairy.com, use a promotion code. You guys see the promotion code on the screen. $ Highly Airy, $. Again, $ Highly Airy, $ for 20% off your first purchase. Follow us on IG at Edibly Airy for new product releases and monthly hookups. Must be 21 and over to purchase. Edibly Airy, the best freeze-dry edibles out. Go shop. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highly Opinionated. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the best segment in sports. This week's edition of Let's Talk About It, ladies and gentlemen, it is NBA playoff time. It is time to hand out some NBA hardware and give out some NBA awards. You ready, John?
Yes, sir.
Let's start with, we're going to give out 7 awards. Start off with the Clutch Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year. You guys see it on the screen. Clutch Player, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, Defensive Player, 6th Man, Coach of the Year, and we'll end off with the MVP. John, who is your Clutch Player of the Year?
My Clutch Player of the Year is also a guy that's in the running for the MVP, but I don't think he's going to win the MVP this year. I have Nikola Jokic as my Clutch Player of the Year. I have seen so many examples of how this guy down the stretch of games just continues to be so efficient, and at times has carried Denver to like wins that they probably shouldn't have gotten because of their downward spirals, so to speak, in defensive efficiency. They haven't been the same defensive team since that championship run, but they have won games solely because of Nikola Jokic's elite decision making, whether scoring the ball or being a playmaker for the offense for Denver.
Nikola Jokic, that's not a bad pick. I actually went with Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has 152 points in the fourth quarter. That's tied for second. He has 131 minutes. He averages 5.6 points per game in the fourth quarter. That's first in the NBA. And his field goal percentage in the fourth quarter is 51.5, which is 52%. For me, the New York Knicks are 51 and 31. I get Nikola Jokic can win every award. He can win MVP. He can win, can't win every award, but he can win MVP. He can win Clutch Player of the Year. But for me, I wanted to give it to somebody who's consistently been clutch in the time of the fourth quarter. And for me, that's been Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. So Jalen Brunson, to me, is the Clutch Player of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to our next award, the Rookie of the Year. And ladies and gentlemen, this should be unanimous. The Rookie of the Year is Stephon Castle from the San Antonio Spurs. He averages 14.7 points a game, 3.7 rebounds, 4.1 assists on 42.8 field goal percentage on his shooting percentage. He was the 4th pick in the draft. So essentially, he averages 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists on 43% shooting. Played a lot of games this year without Wemby. Played a lot of games without De'Aaron Fox. He had to learn on the fly. One of the things that helped Stephon Castle is playing with Chris Paul. He learned from Chris Paul. He also learned from Victor Wembanyama. Also, let's go back in time. He lost his head coach, Greg Popovich. So he couldn't really learn from him like most rookies can learn from their head coach. To me, the Rookie of the Year should be unanimous. No other choice. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rookie of the Year should be Stephon Castle of the San Antonio Spurs.
You have no argument from me, brother. I'm definitely 100% with you on Stephon Castle. I was very high on this guy. You know, when he came out of UConn, thought he got with the perfect situation with San Antonio. Obviously, we were wishing a speedy recovery for Greg Popovich. But the structure of the San Antonio Spurs that Popovich created is still very much in there with his assistant coaches. So Stephon Castle, you talk about being in like the best situation for a young guard, learning from that structure, but also learning from Hall of Fame point guard and Chris Paul and a perennial all-star in De'Aaron Fox as well. So I think the sky's the limit for Stephon Castle moving forward and the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, we never know what's going to happen with the draft. There is an outside chance that they could get the number 1 pick this year. So it's something that remains to be seen. You know, we hear about Cooper Flagg going into the draft this year. So San Antonio fans, I think, have a lot to be excited for, whether they get the number 1 pick or not. But no argument from me. It's Stephon Castle and nobody else for that Rookie of the Year.
Next award, Most Improved Player of the Year. I did the Rookie of the Year. You'll start us off with this one. Who wins your Most Improved Player of the Year?
I got to go with Dyson Daniels for Atlanta. This is a guy that's really floated under the radar. He's had, I think, just a tremendous impact, especially on the defensive side of the ball. He's been able to allow Trae Young to play off ball, and he's just been a really good on-ball defender. He, averages a high amount of steals. You know, he just creates turnovers, and he's been a decent playmaker. Atlanta has kind of been one of those teams that we're not paying a ton of attention to right now, honestly. But looking at Dyson Daniels' stats, you know, from where he started to where he is this year, I've been seeing this tremendous improvement, and he's been vital since DeJounte Murray got traded away from Atlanta. I think the improvement. I think Atlanta saw something in Daniels that made them feel comfortable with trading away DeJounte Murray.
So Dyson Daniels was third on my ballot. I had him behind Ivica Zubac, my winner for Most Improved Player. And I know, like, most people get upset with this, but I gave it to Cade Cunningham. He went up in points, went up in rebounds, went up in assists, and went up in field goal percentage. Last season, he averaged 22.7, 4.3 rebounds, 7.5 assists. This season, he averages 26.1 points, 6.1 rebounds, and basically 9 assists a game. Cade Cunningham has definitely improved. That's why the Detroit Pistons went from winning 14 games last season to winning 44 games this season. By the way, I have another award for another Detroit Piston. Once we get to that, that's a little bit of foreshadowing, ladies and gentlemen. But to me, I think Cade Cunningham is going to win it. Now, for me, I don't want to talk out of both sides of my neck. I think Cade Cunningham will win the award. But for me, I thought the Most Improved Player was Ivica Zubac. Ivica Zubac from the Los Angeles Clippers averages 17 points, 12.6 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and he's shooting 63%. Last season, he averaged 12 points. He averaged 9.2 rebounds. He averaged 1.4 assists. His field goal percentage was better last season than it was this season. Every stat other than field goal percentage, Vincent Zubac went up, kind of like how Cade Cunningham went up. The Los Angeles Clippers would not be the 5 seed in the West if it wasn't for Vincent Zubac. Kawhi Leonard didn't play the whole season. Norman Powell missed a couple games. Guys got hurt. Vincent Zubac, you can make a case, has been their second most consistent player throughout the whole season. They're a 5 seed in the Western Conference. So I want to give Zubac some love. But for me, my winner is Cade Cunningham. Again, 26.1 points again, 26.1 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game, and 9.1 assists per game. I feel like the brother has improved. I feel like the brother has made the moves he needed to make. Shout out to Cade Cunningham for improving and making this Detroit Pistons a playoff contender.
I don't think you can give a most improved player to a guy that averaged 22 points a game last year. That's just me. I mean, Cade Cunningham is awesome. Detroit has had a tremendous turnaround. JB Bickerstaff deserves consideration for Coach of the Year. Just from where Detroit was a year ago to where they are now is just an amazing turnaround. Cade Cunningham he's a big reason for why that happened as well. But I'm not giving most improved to a guy who was a number 1 overall pick in the draft and just came off averaging 22 points a game last year. I think that should be expected. And it's not a knock against Cade Cunningham. It's acknowledging how great of a player he already is and will continue to be.
Totally understand that. But for me, it's all about improvement. In these numbers, you can't say he didn't improve. He improved. And his team's improved with not only his stats, but the team improved with wins. So for me, for you took Dyson Daniels. He was 3rd on my ballot. I had Cade Cunningham 1, and Vincent Zubac 2nd, and Dyson Daniels was 3rd on my ballot. The next award we're going to go pick over is the Defensive Player of the Year award. I'll start us off. My Defensive Player of the Year is Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's made them a better defensive team. The Cavaliers are the 8th best defensive team when Evan Mobley is on the floor. He averages 18.5 points a game, 9.3 rebounds, and basically 2 blocks a game. For me, the Cavaliers are anchored with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. The Cleveland Cavaliers have won 64 games. Part of that is because of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. They do have great offensive talent. But part of that is because Evan Mobley has taken the step not only offensively, but defensively. Now, I will say this. The Defensive Player of the Year was Victor Wembanyama, but he didn't play enough games. So you got to look for option 2, option 3, option 4. So for me, my first option, because Victor Wembanyama could not get the award because he didn't play the amount of games, my choice is Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It's not a bad pick. I think Evan Mobley has the benefit of having Jared Allen out there as well with him. That's just my opinion. But Evan Mobley's definitely been a great defender this season. For me, I got one of the OGs as a Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going with Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors. You talk about a guy that's like 6'5" or 6'6" on a good day that's guarding literally 7-footers or 6'10" guys, 6'11" guys every night. Golden State is simply not the same team when Draymond's not on the floor. His impact, we get caught up in so much in stats, in my opinion, but we don't really pay attention to the actual impact when he's out there. Draymond's communication, his ability to switch, his ability just to make timely plays on defense at critical points in the game has been so vital for the Golden State Warriors' success, especially since they got Jimmy Butler. They are part of the reason that Draymond Green is the reason why the NBA has converted to small ball. The Golden State Warriors, the way that the night they put in Andre Iguodala and started Draymond Green at center. Ever since that happened, the league totally changed. Players that were once, highly touted were no longer playable, so to speak. We talk about Roy Hibbert. Once upon a time, he was a dominant big in the league. That posting up in the NBA became a thing of the past the night that happened. That's Draymond Green. But it's not so much his offense, but his defensive prowess. I mean, I remember watching a couple of games. I've been watching a couple of games with the Warriors now. I've seen so many moments where Draymond has made key defensive stops at the perfect time, whether swiping down the ball or even getting key blocks. This is a guy that's 6'5", 6'6", getting up there and still blocking shots, even at his advanced stage and at this stage of his career. The Warriors are simply just not the same team, and especially on the defensive side without Draymond. He has continued just to have such an impact. And this year, again, I'm with you on Wembanyama. If he didn't ever get injured, that award is his to lose. But from what I've seen, from an efficiency standpoint, defensive rating, I got to go with Draymond.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Draymond surged towards the middle, basically all-star break and above as the defensive player. I will give Draymond this. Draymond's the only defender in the NBA that you'll see him stick Kawhi Leonard. You'll see him stick a Nikola Jokic, and you'll see him stick Jamal Murray. He can switch and he can cover all those guys. And I'm not saying I feel comfortable with him sticking all of them, but that's the best defender that they have. So you would go out with you're gonna go down with your best. So Draymond's not a bad pick at all, but for me, Evan Mobley has been more consistent throughout the season. This is a season award, not just a halfway season or all-star break. Throughout the season, Evan Mobley has been more consistent and better defensively than Draymond Green. Our next award that we'll do is the Sixth Man of the Year. Start us off, my brother.
I'm looking at the Boston Celtics, and I'm going with Peyton Pritchard, a guy that has absolutely exploded onto the scene for the Celtics. He kind of started making a name for himself, in the playoffs, hitting half court shots beyond half court shots in the playoffs and in the finals. But this season, I watched this guy put up 40 points when Tatum is out, when Brown is out, Derek White. It's like we're down a few guys, no problem. Boston will be just fine because Peyton Pritchard comes in, he's had a couple of 30-point games, he's had a 40-point game. This guy's like, what is he all 6'1", 6'2" maybe, but he just absolutely lights it up on offense, and he's been a decent defender. I think Boston's success, he definitely has his imprint on. And again, we know about the starting five that Boston brings to the table with Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, Drew Holiday, and the crew. But Peyton Pritchard has been a huge part, in my opinion, for Boston's continued sustained success, and they just don't seem to miss a beat when one or even two of those guys are out. And for me, I don't think anybody has played better off the bench this season than Peyton Pritchard.
Averaging 14.3 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, and 3.5 assists a game. We agree. The Sixth Man of the Year is Peyton Pritchard from the Boston Celtics. What a great season he's had. And congratulations, Peyton, on winning the Sixth Man of the Year award from Highly Opinionated. The next award, our second to last award, is Coach of the Year. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the hardest award, in my opinion. Other than MVP, we saved the best two for last. These two are the hardest awards to vote for. You start off with Sixth Man. I'll start us off with Coach of the Year. My Coach of the Year is J.B. Bickerstaff of the Detroit Pistons. Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the team last season won 14 games? They were 14-68. This season, they were 44-38. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a 30-game difference. Enough said. The Detroit Pistons ain't got no superstars. They ain't got no great players on their team. They have an emerging player in Cade Cunningham. The rest of those guys are Jags. I'm not going to say Jags. They're great. They're very good NBA players, but there are no household names on that team. You got Tobias Harris. You got Jalen Dart. You got guys that you can build up. Jalen Dart, Cade Cunningham, Ivy, Jaden Ivy. These are young guys that you have to build up. So for me, J.B. Bickerstaff got a raw deal in Cleveland. He should have never lost that job. They lost to the Celtics. Ain't no damn shame in that. If that's the case, then the Mavericks should fire their coach. The Pacers should fire their coach. And whoever the Celtics and the Heat should fire they're not doing that because they beat them last year. So for me, this is one of the toughest awards to go to. Shout out to Ime Udoka. Shout out to Kenny Atkinson. Because Kenny Atkinson should get some love too. They did win 64 games with Cleveland. But for me, if a man inherits a team that wins 14 games and he wins 44, automatic Coach of the Year. And that's what J.B. Bickerstaff did. Congratulations to J.B. Bickerstaff, not putting his head down, not being disappointed he got fired by the Cavaliers, but taking the next job and trying to be successful at that next job and actually making the Detroit Pistons a good team that made the playoffs this season.
That's a really compelling argument. I do not blame you for picking J.B. Bickerstaff. In fact, it wouldn't shock me at all if he won it. Just Detroit came from literal, I don't even want to use the words, but you know what I'm talking about. 14 games. My God, the Detroit Lions.
My God.
The Detroit Lions probably won more games than the Detroit Pistons last year, and that's
crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy.
82 games versus however many games in football.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So I get it if he wins. I got to give some love to a first-year head coach that happens to coach my favorite team. That's J.J. Redick. A virtual unknown. ESPN analyst, no coaching experience at all. Lakers aren't really in the best position roster-wise at the beginning of the year. It looked like not the greatest. But then they trade for Luka. all of a sudden the entire Lakers fan base and the franchise has a totally different outlook. Rui Hachimura was on record saying that JJ Redick's goal was to get the 3 seed and get 50 wins. He did it. I mean, you got to give this guy a little bit of credit. And I did not think this Lakers team was going to be relevant defensively. I did not think they would look the way that they look. Don't shake your head at me. I did not think they were going to look this way with Luka Doncic. I thought there was going to be a lot of clashing going on. I did not think that Austin Reeves was going to look the way that he's looked all season long. But I've been wrong on a lot with the Lakers because of one JJ Redick. We can't deny that his coaching has been a huge part of why the Lakers look the way that they look. Again, I get JB Bickerstaff. I'm with you. It wouldn't shock me at all if he won it. But for me, if I'm looking at expectations for a first-year head coach, a guy that literally has never coached before, and you get to 50 wins and a 3 seed in the Western Conference for the LA Lakers, I gotta give JJ Redick some love. The in-game adjustments that he's made, the way that they prepared for teams that I didn't think they would win against. I didn't think they beat the Nuggets the way they did that night. I didn't think they compete with OKC the way that they have. But the defensive scheming, from what I've seen from JJ Redick, it's been impressive. I think it's worthy of Coach of the Year consideration, in my opinion.
I like JJ Redick. He went to the best college in the world. I think your argument for him to win Coach of the Year is insanity. And there's no hate to you, sir. You said that they had bad roster. Sir, they started the season with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. The Pistons didn't start the season with that. I get it. Like, yeah, he made moves and he won games. That's fine. I'm not taking nothing away from JJ. He made some good calls to beat Denver on a Saturday night where everybody was watching. He made good calls to beat Oklahoma City on a Sunday where nobody was watching. JJ Redick is a good coach. Austin Reeves is a better player than what I said he was. But, bro, like, you talk about a team that won 50 games. I'm talking about a team that won 60. Even though I didn't have him winning, Kenny Atkinson won 64. Bro, the Pistons don't have no damn Anthony Davis or LeBron James on that roster.
The Cavs were good. The Cavs were good last year. Of course.
Okay, cool. You're right. I'll let the Cavs go. I'm talking about the Pistons because my guy, I picked JB Bickerstaff. They don't have a LeBron. They don't have an AD on that team. And then the Lakers traded for Luka.
JB Bickerstaff has experience. We expected good things from JB Bickerstaff. He just came from the Cavaliers like in the Eastern Conference Finals.
No. JB Bickerstaff had heard the team that won 14 games. The Lakers went to the playoffs last year. So they were expected to be a playoff team this year. That's what they are. As of right now, that's what they are. We don't know if they're going to win their first round series. We don't know how far they're going to go. Literally, JJ Redick has done what Darvin Ham has done. Forget the seed number. They made the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. They're not in the play-in. Okay, fine. Darvin Ham did that. Bro, Bickerstaff took over a team that won 14 games. 14.
I hear you on that, but let me ask you this. Does anybody have any championship expectations for the Detroit Pistons?
No.
Did anybody expect the Lakers to look as good as they've looked going into the playoffs with JJ Redick being a first-year head coach with no experience?
Yes, because I've had people tell me when no serious they got Luka. I didn't think they would, but people were telling me, man, this Lakers team going to the finals. They said that soon they got Luka. People on TV said, man, this Lakers team going to the finals. Bro, I didn't believe
that. But then Redick showed me that it's actually possible. I didn't believe that. When Luka came to the Lakers, I was like, this is great for next season and years beyond. Not this year. But that's when JJ Redick's coaching showed me a different picture. And the Lakers look like legit threats in the West. This will not be a first-round exit like it has been with Darvin Ham. There's a different level of in-game adjustment altogether with JJ Redick that I didn't see with Darvin Ham.
I'm not taking that away.
He has taken Detroit and made them a playoff team.
Yes.
Nobody saw that coming. I get it.
Yes. That's Coach of the Year.
I hear you on that, but I'm saying we got to show some love to JJ Redick from where
honorable mention.
This guy was no coaching experience.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Should JJ? Okay, you think he should win? I don't even think he should get more credit than Udoka. The Rockets are the 2 seed, bro. You trying to tell me you thought the Rockets were going to be the 2 seed in the Western Conference?
Does anybody believe the Rockets are coming anywhere close to a finals?
That's fine. It's about Coach of the Year is about what you did in the regular season. It's not about what you're going to do in the playoffs. I'm asking you, when the season started, did you think the Rockets was going to be the number 2 seed? Fuck no. Nobody did. Bro, the Lakers had top 10 players on their roster. They started the season with AD and LeBron.
And yet they barely got to a top 6 finish. That's my point. The Lakers over the years have not been. Yeah, they'll barely make it in the playoffs, but that's like the ceiling, the first round exit. That's not the Lakers' expectation. And then a literal nobody in the coaching field comes in and totally changes that entire frame. Now, a trade with Luka Doncic proves to actually bolster that. But coming in, nobody expected JJ Redick with Dalton Knecht and Bronny James joining the team to actually legit be a finals contender. He's made them into that. Nobody saw that coming. Again, I'm not discrediting JP Bickerstaff. I'm not discrediting Ime Udoka. I'm just saying JJ Redick should be in the running for that coach of the year as well as those guys.
You got JJ, I got JB. Our last award, ladies and gentlemen, is the Most Valuable Player of the Year award. Start us off, my brother. Who you got?
I have from Oklahoma City, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. In my opinion, he's been the best player in the league all season long. The efficiency with his 32 points a game, leading Oklahoma City to winning over 60 games, having the number one seed locked up for the better part of 2 months in the regular season. There has not been a better team start to finish than the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're absolutely nothing without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I thought he should have won the award last year, but they gave it to Jokic. I wasn't mad at that. Nikola Jokic is an amazing player. He could probably win it every year, honestly, in my opinion, because that's just how good he is. But I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has just been unbelievably efficient. And there are some people that believe that Oklahoma City will finally break through and get back to the finals for the first time since the KD, Westbrook, and Harden era.
We disagreed on Coach of the Year, but we agree on MVP. Now, let me preface my statement. Last week, I said this should be co-MVP. So if I had to vote, I can't vote for co-MVPs doing this, but if I had my vote, I would vote co-MVPs. I just want to shout out Nikola Jokic. 29.6 points a game, 12.7 rebounds per game, 10.2 assists per game, 57.6 field goal percentage per game. Ladies and gentlemen, he is top 10 in all 4 of those categories: points, rebounds, assists, and field goal percentage. The Denver Nuggets won 50 games. They're the 4 seed. They just fired, and you can tell they had some problems. This Mike Malone and Calvin Boo problem just ain't start 2 weeks ago. They've been had issues, so the Denver Nuggets had to facilitate through that. So I just want to give Nikola Jokic his love because he's the best player in the NBA, in my opinion. Now, for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you hit the nail on the coffin, John. You're the perfect co-host to have on the show, my brother. The Thunder, 68-14. Number one record in the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the scoring title with 32.7 points per game. He averages 5 rebounds per game, 6.4 assists per game, and shooting 52% from the field as a guard. That is unheard of. Nikola Jokic shoots 58%. He shoots 52%. Nikola Jokic is a 7-foot center. My man is a 6'4", 5'6" guard, and still putting up basically around the same field goal percentage number. So we agree. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP, number one seed in the NBA, won the scoring title. Like you said, could have won the MVP last year. Nikola Jokic could win the MVP every year. Nikola Jokic is only 3rd player ever for a season to average a triple-double. The first 2 are Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook. So Nikola Jokic could win it, but for me, we agree. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP of the 2024-2025 NBA season. Ladies and gentlemen, you will find out these awards as the playoff progresses. You'll find out Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Most Improved, Defensive Player, 6-man, Clutch, and MVP, along with the All-NBA teams and the All-NBA defensive teams, along with the All-NBA rookie teams. So come back to see if me and John were right about our predictions. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Highly Opinionated. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Highly Opinionated is sponsored by Wolves of War. In some of the episodes, you can see my co-host and Ross wearing a brand called Wolves of War. Wolves of War is our first sponsor, ladies and gentlemen, and we are so thankful to have those guys sponsoring Highly Opinionated. Thank you very much. The actual meaning of Wolves of War is that it represents having a strong path behind you through the battles of life. With the right people behind you, you can get through anything. You guys see the link for Wolves of War? Make sure you guys click on the link, shop, great apparels, t-shirts, sweatsuits, whatever you want, they have. Once again, Wolves of War. Make sure you guys go shop. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Highly Opinionated. Ladies and gentlemen, the most talented and best UFC boxing expert I know. Dylan, the floor is yours, bro. Take it away.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. Josh, John, thank you again. Welcome back to Dill's Bangin Breakdown. And what a weekend of fights. Wow, I was enjoying it from the first fight of the night. 314 was a great card. Miami turned up. The crowd was great. The athletes in attendance were great. The celebrities were there. The night was popping off, and I really enjoyed it. From all of the UFC embeddeds from the build up on YouTube from the week of the fight, they do a little 10-minute video every week to give you a little insight on what's going on all the fighters, and those got me so hype. And this card did not disappoint me. First fight of the night, crazy good win in the women's bantamweight with a submission. That was a great one for me. They started banging as it was. Next fight in, KO. I was already drawn in. Marco Tulio, he surprised me. That guy came out in the middleweight division throwing hands, and big fan of him getting the win. He is 10 and good record for him. 14-1, 10 wins by knockout on that guy. Good for him. Keep an eye on him. Next fight in, split decision, but these guys definitely threw down. My guy, can't pronounce his name, pardon me, Suma Doraji from China. He is up there and one of those Chinese fighters who really, really want the belt. There's been a few. Korean Zombie, he was like just a walking robot, and this guy would take hits. And this guy right here, he's looking good. He got the win in the split decision, but I'm not a fan of split decisions. But he looked great. Great fight by those guys. Last fight on the early prelims, Cedrikius Dumas, he did get tapped out. And I was really looking forward to that. But Michael, he can't pronounce his last name, excuse me, McCall. But he is really, really well-rounded from the striking and the ground game. And he got a KO on Cedrikius. Now, maybe he shouldn't have maybe the ref shouldn't have called it so early. But I do think Cedrikius was covered up and wasn't getting ground and pounded too hard, but better to save the fighter than to give him a head injury or hurt somebody. But props to him, Cedrikius. He'll come back. He has before. I like him. Prelim start with Darren Elkins getting knocked out. I'm a big fan of Elkins, and Julian Erosa put him to sleep, and that was a nasty right hand by him. That was in the first round, right before the bell ended, 4 minutes into it. He cracked him. Darren Elkins was out cold. I feel bad for him because I'm a big fan of Darren Elkins, but that was great. Julian Rosa, he's coming up. Featherweight division is already stacked as it is, and he's scary. It's already a scary division with all the fighters. They got a lot in that division, but he's dangerous. Keep an eye out on him. Jim Miller, next fight. Chase Hooper, hang it up. Jim Miller, you're 40-some years old. You've had your record in the UFC is 38-19. Jim Miller. You're 45 years old. Chase Hooper is an upcoming prospect. He went all the distance with him, but Chase pretty much just worked him the whole 15 minutes. There was unanimous all to Chase. He probably got a 30-27 called by all the judges because he looked great. Good for him. He's upcoming. He's like 25 years old. I'm a big fan of Chase Hooper. The hype isn't around him. Should be a little bit more. It's already he's hyped up, but the hype should be a little more. Keep an eye on Chase Hooper. This women's fight was pretty crazy too. Both these women were throwing hard. Yan and Virna were definitely throwing hard. And number 3 ranked Virna Jandiroba, she is a monster. She is definitely a title next in line for the belt against Zhang Wei Li. And she is crazy. She hits hard. She keeps walking. She does not want to be on the back heel. I love both those women. I'd love to see a rematch between both of them because it went the distance. It'd be cool if it was a knockout or a submission or something like that. I thought it was going to be a submission. Yan was almost she was in an arm bar, and I thought it was going to be a submission, but she pulled out of it. Still a great fight. Big fan. Last fight on the prelims, Sean Woodson, Dan Ige. Early stoppage on that one too. I'm pretty sure even the commentators, Joe Rogan, said that was one of the worst stoppages they've ever seen in UFC because it was third round, 1 minute into it, and Sean Woodson was definitely gassed and hurt, but he was moving. It was bad call. They got to run that one back. Yeah, we'll see what happens on those two. I can't even talk about that fight. Main card starts though. Was not looking forward to this first fight. Nikita and Dominic Reyes didn't care about it. Dominic Reyes is old, washed up. I was wrong, everybody. I hope everybody says I was wrong because Dominic Reyes came and knocked Nikita out cold and got me the hype back in it. He was running around the octagon after he got the knockout and his hype was back in it. They kept saying, welcome back Dominic Reyes to the light heavyweight division, but he's old. I don't think he's coming back. I think he just has a couple more fights on the contract and wants to get paid and enjoy him, whatever it was. But either way, hats off, props to him, because that was a great knockout by Dominic Reyes. Looking forward to see what he does next in the next fight, because his hands are hard and heavy. So I'm looking forward to that. Next, another fight we were all looking forward to, Gene Silva and Bryce Mitchell. Big talk, big trash talk. Bryce Mitchell was, we all heard the controversy. Jean Silva, he was coming and talking big trash. I'm knocking Bryce Mitchell out, all the above. He just was talking trash, and he came in and he backed up that trash. And I have to agree with everybody who was talking about Sean Silva from the commentators that he is next in line. The Fighting Nerds organization they got over there in that gym, I think they are like 28-0 in that whole gym, someone said online, and that is crazy. And John Silva is a monster. He was so technical, his distance, his kicks, he read everything. He out-grappled Bryce Mitchell, and Bryce Mitchell loves to grapple. Bryce Mitchell got submitted just now by John Silva, which was crazy. We thought it was going to be with the hands, and John Silva didn't barely take any punches. Bryce Mitchell was bloodied up. So John Silva, keep an eye out for him, and I was happy he won. I'll take that one. Lost me on the first fight on the prelims. On the main card. I called Nikita to win. Reyes took it. Hats off to him. John Silva, I called it. Yair Rodriguez with a spectacular performance against Patricio Pitbull. Patricio's first fight in the UFC. Patricio's been a 3-time world champion, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, Bellator, steps up to the UFC, and Yair Rodriguez showed him that the UFC is no other organization like any other, because Yair put on a flawless performance for 15 minutes and worked Patricio Pitbull. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of going the distance, but Yair looked amazing. He hurt Pitbull so many times. Leg kicks, kept him at distance, jabs. He just read him the whole time. Pitbull did not know what to do. I'm not sure if it was the bright lights getting to him. Could have been a big part. Either way, the UFC is nothing to play with. Yair looked absolutely spectacular. Ranked number 5. He lost to Ortega. He lost to Volkanovski, both legends. But either way, in my opinion, I think Yair is next up there for the belt. Phenomenal fighter. Featherweight division's already stacked, but all divisions are stacked right now besides light heavyweight and heavyweight. Hats off to Yair. Welcome to the UFC, Patricio. You didn't enjoy that welcome with an ass whooping like that, but welcome. Co-main event, Michael Chandler, Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett is also the real deal. He says it also. People were going to say he fought old people. He fought this and that. He fought number 7 ranked Michael Chandler, a seasoned vet in the UFC, who's still young and strong, who still has done spectacular things in the UFC. Paddy Pimblett went out there and knocked him out. He hit him with a knee so hard. He went to throw a high kick, and I ended up kneeing Michael Chandler in the cheek and busting him open. And since the opening of the first round, Pimblett had him read. Pimblett knew what he was going to do. He knew he was just going to come in and lunge with these fast little breaks of 2-3 punches and a kick maybe, and Paddy read him the whole entire time. That was a phenomenal fight by Paddy. It did go to the 3rd round, but it was a 5-round fight. It could have been, but Paddy put him away in 3 minutes in the 3rd round. Paddy is on fire. Whether he fights Charles Oliveira, he called out Gaethje, Dustin, or he's fighting Islam for the belt, he is absolutely going to wipe out the top 3 in that division and just be ready for Islam. If Islam is even staying in this division, he might go fight Ilya. Who knows what's going on with these guys holding belts? Some of these guys haven't fought in a while, and we need to see him fight anyway. So either way, Paddy Pimblett's next fight, it's either going to be a top 3 guy or for the belt. I would throw Paddy for the belt. Give him another 6 months to train and work and dial in. That'd be insane. I'd love that. Paddy, hats off to you. I called that one too. Main event. What are you going to say about Volk? People, he's getting old. He's 35, this, that. Phenomenal 5-round fight by a UFC champion, Alexander Volkanovski. It did go full distance, unanimous decision. It was one-sided. Volk looked amazing. He does keep his head on the center line a little when he backs out from a combo or something like that, and he needs to watch out for that in the future, and I'm sure he knows that, and that's caught him in the past. But either way, I hope nobody bet against Volk because I would not count him out. He looks spectacular in 5 rounds. His physique looked amazing, probably better than it's ever done. He's actually the only one 35 and over to ever re-get the belt in the featherweight division. So he's still a force to be reckoned with. Don't care, like I said, what you say about him. He's insane on the feet. He took Lopez down. He tried to submit him. He grounded and pound him. He leg kicked him. He high kicked him. He blocked kicks. He defended takedowns. Volk looked great. Featherweight division, like I said, is stacked already, but I give all the props to Volk. He's one of the best. He is really a spectacular fighter in all aspects of MMA. So hats off to him. I would love to see who he fights next, whether it's Yair or somebody. That'd be crazy, but good for him. That's it for my 314 breakdown, but a little after UFC talk. Press conferences that went on before the UFC press conferences went on this past Friday. We have Merab rematching Sean O'Malley in June, which is already going to be a crazy fight. This will be their rematch. Merab hasn't really rematched anybody. He hasn't rematched anybody in his career. He's just one and done to everybody, as he did to O'Malley, but he's given O'Malley the opportunity to rematch him in June, and I think O'Malley is going to take this dub. Once you see what you did in the past fight with your takedowns, defense, and letting Merab just keep pushing you towards the fence. You can't let him do that. Anybody that gets backed up is just going to get beat, essentially, unless you catch him on something. I'm very looking forward to that fight. Also, the women's division, Amanda Nunes, she was at the press conference also. Kayla Harrison is coming up for this belt, and this is looking like going to be a rematch between somebody. I believe it's going to be UFC that Sean O'Malley's on the Miami card. Let me check this out real quick. Sean O'Malley's fighting on, UFC 316 and Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison for the women's bantamweight title. Amanda Nunes has already retired as a double UFC champion in the women's divisions. And I believe she has bad blood and hates Kayla Harrison. So if she already got the nod towards Dana White. And Dana White said, "You doing it?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm doing it." So she just got inducted in the UFC Hall of Fame this past weekend at 314, being as one of the GOATs of the women's bantamweight division, as one of the best women fighters ever. And now she's about to step back in and give one of these women an ass whooping out of Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison because she wants this belt. And I think she knows that Nunes knows that Kayla Harrison's going to take this belt because she's younger, she's stronger, she's already had bad blood with Pena. Pena already beat Harrison once, so I think, and Kayla Harrison is ready. She's stronger. She's stacked. She looks a little unit as she is. She's going to win that, I believe, and that's going to be a crazy fight with Amanda Nunes coming back to fight Kayla Harrison. Oh, wow, guys, that's going to be a good one. So keep a lookout for that one. UFC 316 is pretty stacked. It's up in Newark, New Jersey. Maybe us and the boys can go get some tickets and see that fight. That'd be pretty crazy. But all right, guys, that's my breakdown. I appreciate it. Go Orioles. We don't mind the shirt, just wearing it because I like it. But the Orioles better come back and get this dub this week. We need them to. Looking forward to that. Thank you, guys. I will talk to you next time on the breakdown.
Dylan, you are the best, bro. Can't wait to have you back on the show next week. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all make sure y'all watch Dylan's segment. I mean, he is giving y'all some of the best information on MMA and boxing. He gets the highly opinionated crew right on MMA and boxing. So, Dylan, you're the best, man. We look forward to having you more on the platform, man. And Dylan, between me and you, I can see one day you have your own show, sir. So hopefully I'm invited on that show as well. John, as we end the show this week, the NBA playoffs is fastly approaching. What series has your attention?
The series that have my attention. I gotta look at the play-in first. Quite frankly, because I'm leaning towards the Houston Rockets. Whoever will get that 7th seed. I'm picking the Golden State Warriors to get there because I think that's going to be a really compelling series, in my opinion. Obviously, we got to see what happens in the play-in because the Warriors have not been great in the play-in. They're actually 0-3 in their 3 play-in games that they've had. So we got to see what happens there. But I gotta go first with the 4-5 seed in the West, Nuggets versus the Clippers. I think that's going to be a really fun series. Jokic is coming. Jamal Murray's coming. Even though they no longer have Mike Malone, you can't summarily dismiss Denver. I just think the Clippers are going to start showing the world that Kawhi Leonard is back. James Harden has been playing phenomenal. A guy that a lot of people thought his best years were already behind him. he showed everyone this year that he's still James Harden, and he's been really good for them. Ty Lue is one of the best coaches in the NBA. Norman Powell has come on strong for the Clippers. Ivica Zubac, your pick for most improved player of the year. He has been a force at the center position. So that's the first series I'm looking at. I got the Clippers winning that series in 5 or 6 games, quite frankly, but I think every game is going to be very interesting. And the only reason why I say 5 or 6 is because I just think that having a rookie head coach heading into the playoffs like this is going to be too much. And I think it's going to ultimately be the reason why the Clippers will overwhelm Denver and overwhelm their young coach. And on the East, thought about this for a little bit. I would say New York and Detroit. I think that's going to be it's going to be a throwback series, so to speak. You know, I think that Detroit is one of the more physical teams in the NBA. We saw different episodes with them, getting into fights with guys. But I like where Detroit's makeup. JB Bickerstaff is a really good coach. Kate Cunningham has been phenomenal. They just got a bunch of guys that remind you a little bit of the old school Pistons from 04 with Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace days. They have a couple of Rough Riders on there, guys that aren't afraid to get physical. I'm interested in seeing how New York combats that, because New York has a lot of offense. They got Karl Anthony Towns has been great for them. Jalen Brunson has been great for them. Will the physicality bother Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns? Because in the past, I questioned that with Karl Anthony Towns. Like, when teams really get physical with you, how do you respond? Are you the same guy? I think that's going to be like the 2 fun first round series, in my opinion. Knicks, Pistons, and then Clippers, Nuggets.
So we agree on the East, because even if the play-in, I think Orlando will be the 7th seed, and I think Chicago will be the 8th seed. I don't think Orlando will be Boston. I don't think Chicago will be Cleveland. In the West, I have Golden State as the 7th seed, and I have Memphis as the 8th seed. I don't think Memphis will be OKC. I do think Golden State will beat the Rockets. So I'm going to say I think the most intriguing – I'm going to give you 2 series out the West that I'm most intrigued by. I'll start with the Warriors and the Rockets first. I like what the Rockets have done. I respect Ime Udoka. I had Ime Udoka at 3rd on my coaching of the year ballot. So I respect what he's done, but I just think the team is wet behind the ears. Jalen Green, all their most important players other than Fred Van Fleet and Dylan Brooks, really don't have the playoff experience that they need. Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, Ahmad Thompson. Those guys don't have the experience. So I think Golden State with the Rockets being that first round opponent, I think Golden State could beat the Rockets just because of experience. Now, the second series I'm most interested in, you stole the Clippers and the Nuggets. Obviously, I'm interested in that. I like the Clippers. Everybody know that. So I'll put that to the side. We agree on that. I think the Clippers should win that series. However, I will say I think Denver will win game 1. I'll give that out. I think the Nuggets will win game 1. But I think the Clippers will win the series. Now, a couple weeks ago, we did a show, and I said Anthony Edwards wasn't a superstar. Well, Anthony Edwards, you can prove me wrong now. You got your chance. The series I'm looking at is the Timberwolves and the Lakers. I took a lot of heat. Oh, you don't know basketball. Oh, you don't know this. Oh, what you looking at? You don't know the game. Da 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 da. Okay, cool, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Edwards, that guy. They should beat the Lakers. I mean, Anthony Edwards faced harder. No, yes, it is. Anthony Edwards faced harder last year in the first round. He played Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant. Now, I know y'all gonna get on my nerves about Austin Reeves. He finally moved from the YMCA to the NBA. That's fine. But none of them players I mentioned are better. Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant are better than anybody on the Lakers, maybe except for Luka. Maybe Luka. Take Luka out. But he's better than anybody else on the Lakers. And Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves found a way to beat them. Now, I don't necessarily think Minnesota going to win the series, but I would hate for a superstar to lose a series 4-0 or get swept 4-0 or lose a series 4-1. I would hate for a so-called superstar to have that happen to him. I mean, that would be terrible. That would be terrible. Again, ladies and gentlemen, y'all told me that this brother's a superstar. Game 1 is Saturday, 8 o'clock on Game 1 is Saturday at 8:30 on ABC. Let's see the superstar perform. Let's see him perform. Bro, you don't have to win, even though I think you should win, but whatever. You don't have to win. Just come out and play the same way that you've been playing.
Yeah, so the reason why the Timberwolves won't win is not because of Anthony Edwards. It's because they're going to make Rudy Gobert absolutely unplayable in this series. they're going to switch on Rudy. Luka is going to have a field day with Rudy Gobert. LeBron, Reeves are all going to have a field day with Gobert. They're going to force Minnesota to play small ball, which is something they don't do all season long. So right there they're already going to be hindered a little bit in playing out of style because they want to play two big guys. They want to play Randall with Gobert. Lakers and JJ Redick are going to make Gobert absolutely unplayable in this series. Just wait and see. And that's going to be the Timberwolves' downfall.
So you could play Naz Reid. Naz Reid isn't unplayable. A superstar makes his teammates better. That's what a superstar does to me. Yeah, you can score, you can defend, you can do all that. Make your teammates better. The Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers, I took a lot of flack for saying Anthony Edwards is not a superstar. I'm just going to watch this series. I just want to see superstar stuff. I want to see you do more than just score. I get, bro, you can score 45 and 50 points, but are you going to make Mike Conley better? You're going to make Jay McDaniels better. You're going to set up Julius Randle to get him easy shots. What about Rudy Gobert? Are you going to do those things to make sure that your team can be in the best position to win? Because Anthony Edwards needs those guys to perform for the Minnesota Timberwolves to get to the second round. So again, it's not all on him. If he scored 50 points and the rest of the team scored 20, I can't come on here and bitch about it. But if he ain't doing his job, I want the same energy y'all told me that he was a superstar. That's what I want. I want that. Because I already know what he is. He's a great, bro, he's Vince Carter. He's a great player. He has attributes. He has abilities. But as far as making the team better, hell no, he ain't doing that. He ain't never going to do that. He can't be your best player and you win the championship. Anthony Edwards can't. I don't care how much y'all like his game. That's great. I love his game. I'm going to use this analogy. I love women, but I can't have them all. I have to be honest with the one that I have. I love women. Think they're the best gender in the world, but I only can have one. I can't have 50, 60, 70, 80. Everybody not a superstar. Every woman ain't no queen. Every woman ain't no either, but every woman ain't no queen. So, bro, everybody not a there you go. Everybody not a superstar.
I ain't saying nothing. You went there with me. I was saying be careful, dog. You gotta be careful what you're saying over there.
I am being careful. Ladies, I love you, but I can't be with all y'all. Only can be one, and I'm grateful for the one that I have. Grateful, but I'm just saying you can't have it all. Anthony Edwards is not. He's a great player. He's a great player, but just because I don't think he's a superstar don't mean I think he's a bad guy. I just don't think he's a superstar, and I think this series will show. I like the Lakers. I like the Lakers 4-1. What you say? Minnesota, Motorola. What was that?
Coca-Cola.
Minnesota, Coca-Cola, Roller, Mola. Lakers in 5. That's what that is, because I don't have no faith in Minnesota. They got Anthony Edwards. We know what Julius Randle is and what he's not in the playoffs. We know what he is. So I like the Lakers to win that series. But the two series I'm looking at are in the West, Houston and Golden State. Obviously, assuming Golden State wins the play-in game Tuesday night against the Memphis Grizzlies, and then Minnesota and the Lakers. Before we get out of here, what are the two teams that will play in the NBA Finals? We're going to give you, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you our East champion and our West champion before the playoffs start.
I think it's going to be Lakers Celtics.
John has Lakers Celtics.
Yep.
Okay. All right. For me, I have Boston. And
you better not.
Oh, man.
You better not. I dare you.
I'm taking the Clippers to play the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. Give me the Celtics and the Clippers. I have no choice, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my God. I know I've been doing it to y'all for the past 5 years. I know you're tired of me. I think Kawhi Leonard will be healthy. This is it. I know I said this last year. If Kawhi not healthy after this year, I'm done. I am done. I'll come on the show and say it myself.
You said that before.
I know, but I didn't have a show. I know, but I didn't have a show at that point, so nobody believes that. Now I have a show. People can actually see me saying it. I'm saying it. I'm riding with the Clippers. I ain't got no choice. I'm riding with Kawhi. I'm riding with James Harden. I'm riding with Ty Lue. I'm riding with – I didn't think Zubac should have won the most improved. He was second behind Cade Cunningham. I'm riding with Zoo. I'm riding with Norman Powell. Boston and the Los Angeles Clippers in the NBA Finals.
Somebody check this man's temperature and make sure that he's well. I don't think he's
good, bro.
Right now.
I'm good. You know, bro, you know, with these glasses, y'all got 20/20. I got 60/60 in both eyes. So I can see a little bit further down the line. You feel me? I can see what I need to see.
You need to be drug tested.
Immediately. I know I do. In fact, we're going to do that right after the show. We're going to do that right after the show. So, John has the Los Angeles Lakers, big surprise, and the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. I have the Clippers, bigger surprise, and the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA playoffs officially get underway this Saturday. Saturday's games will be all on ESPN and ABC. Sunday will be on ABC, and TNT will take you home Sunday evening and Sunday night. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank everybody for watching Highly Opinionated episode 34. Make sure you guys subscribe, tune in, and watch the Club JG podcast. My brother's doing great things over there. He had Buck Williams on, the legend, a couple weeks ago. Can't wait to see what he has tuned in for you guys this week and more weeks coming up. For the best producer, the best editor, the best guy here on Highly Opinionated Ross, I'm Merely Josh. We will see you guys very soon. We out. Enjoy.